Domo, welcome everybody. We're back with Inhuman Resources. Yippee! Yes, Domo Diddle, Domo Bucky, Domo Cody, Domo Fidelity. Get those emotes ready, pork roll. It's time to work a job. So to recap, we were a bum leeching off our aunt who owned the apartment we lived in, and she was like, "Get a job at the pay rent," and we were like, "All right, bet." So we nailed the interview, at the cost of watching a man have his brain lobotomized to create a doppelganger version of himself that would assassinate his wife and children because he accidentally leaked information to them. Oops. So, yeah, this is just r/anti-work the game. Also, we have clinical depression. But our new boss asked us to please not consider killing ourselves because that would be boring. So we did get in touch with some mysterious person named L, not to be confused with Death Note, who was like, yeah, I was like, you're new, so you can get away with asking questions, so use that to your advantage to try and get information to stop a merger between there's like this and another company that want to do like a merger, and if they merge, they will become super powerful and it'll be all 1984 up in here. We don't want that. So we're starting now to go through one department at a time because we need like all the department's approvals to go to like the super department, the nursery they call it, the hive, because they like to be funny around here. So we started off with the evaporation department, which basically people go in there and they can have their identities wiped clean. So we walked in on the head person, probably the only person in there. Yeah, get those streaks. Trying to do his job, and that includes ripping the guy's teeth out because, you know, dental records. If you're gonna wipe a person completely clean off the map, you gotta factor in stuff like that. So right now we're like, okay, or how are we gonna go about this? And so, yeah, we will now resume that. We did talk to Kazuo, that's the name of the guy in the evaporation department. He gave us a note, which we did burn afterwards, but basically, Kazuo has been here, like, since the beginning, and it turns out the company, has changed over time. Like, even the original founder got herself wiped off the map. But she had a manifesto, and pretty much the last thing I did was read the manifesto, so we were noting that Kazuo might actually be a potential ally because he's noted that the way things in the company have changed for the worse, so yeah. Anyway, yes, I did try to open the briefcase file, but I couldn't open it. I tried asking Kazuo about it, but he said, Theodore has the password, so I have to talk to, Theodore. Theodore's the guy having his teeth ripped out. It's not every day you meet a normal citizen in a shadow corporation's most secretive sector, let alone one who's happy to be here. How he ended up at Smyrna Corp and why he's so gung-ho about leaving his old life behind will probably make for quite the story. You approach Mr. Zadruzinski. It's probably Russian, so yeah. Who, despite being strapped to that dentistry chair, appears at complete ease. You give him a nervous wave hello, but the red-haired customer only reacts to the greeting when you start to cough on his palpably foul breath. Can he not see you? It's like, are we sure we don't want his teeth to be ripped out? Because he's got some bad gingivitis. Hey there, stranger. Or are you coming to do prep work for my evaporation thingy? I can't wait to get started. Oh yeah, he's like super. Oh yeah, it's like he's super excited to have his whole shit wiped out. Probably because he's getting free dental. It's like, oh boy, I can have my identity erased and I get free dental. Oh my god, man, he's really looking forward to this, huh? Or he's looking forward to it being over anyway, because his glazed eyes keep darting towards the pliers in your hands, no doubt dreading their intended purpose. At least you two have that in common. You clarify you're only here to learn more about your soon-to-be patient. Rather than appear disappointed, the middle-aged fellow seems more than willing to lend assistance. Sure, ask away. It's pretty easy to be an open book when all your pages are about to become blank. Yeah, I'm just gonna go straight for the briefcase. Ready to be forthcoming, considering his procedures at stake. Yet, as if remembering an inside joke made at your expense, the man's rotting smile contorts into a smug grin. Sorry, Mr. Kuroka told me I'm not allowed to answer that. Said it would help teach other employees to practice empathy and active listening. If you want the answer, you'll have to pay attention to what I say and guess the answer. Oh no, I have to solve a puzzle. Heaven forbid I solve a puzzle. I say while being good at puzzles. There's no ill will in this tone, but neither is there room for argument. Seems you'll need to do more sleuthing if you care to find out what's going on. Alright, so, tell me about yourself. Where are you from and why are you going through with this procedure? Let's start there. According to Kazuo, willful self-evaporation isn't something people choose on a whim. It's quite literally life-changing. But why would someone so genuinely joyful go through with this? What kind of calamity could have driven Theodore into this corner? If you think I look happy, it must be because I'm about to be free from a life that never let me be happy. I won't give you the whole sob story. It's too boring to bother telling. But to keep things short, I was born abroad, then brought here after my mom left my dad after being an abusive asshat, after which he began beating me. Then, I hopped between foster homes a few times. Tried to become an artist, failed, got married to someone I didn't love, had 2 kids I never wanted, the usual. Other than that, my only pride and joy was the shop I opened. A grocery store right at the edge of town. 5530 Foods and Fruits, freshest in the West End. Write that down. Write that down. That's how I answer the phone, you know. About 50 times a day, 7 days a week for 23 years. I don't know if I'll ever stop answering calls that way, no matter what Kazuo does to me. Anyway, after a while, I couldn't take it anymore. Never followed my dreams, killed myself with overwork just to feed kids who never liked me and a wife who cheated behind my back. I felt like a zombie. Heck, I was even less than a zombie. At least those things crave brains. I didn't even crave death enough to kill myself. Anyway, I started looking for ways out. Divorce lawyers, bank loans, fake passports, you name it. But none of it seemed right. There was always something holding me back from completely starting over. Nobu. Well, at least he's friends with Minobu, which is nice. There's silence as you struggle to digest this unpalpable tale. You can tell the man's grief is genuine, his desperation real, and if you had been in his place, you're not entirely convinced you would have chosen differently. Some people perhaps need something like Smirnocorp to escape their lives, minus the lobotomies and attempts to eliminate free will, that is. Anyway, that's all water under the bridge. Ever since I got scouted by Smirnocorp, I've been living my best life. And once my evaporation's done, I'll be living an even better one. Well, at least his good mood is back. But there's still a few certainties nagging at you. What the hell? Why name it after a number? Theodore rides uncomfortably beneath the Kevlar belts. As if finally realizing how tight they are, he bites his lips flustered, his rotten teeth staining the pale skin with brown. It's just a stupid mistake I made while filing out paperwork. I had 2 of the columns mixed up and ended up listing the address number as the business name instead. Funny though, isn't it? It was just one teeny tiny typo made somewhere around 3 a.m. while trying to rock my daughter to sleep and ended up haunting me for almost 20 years. 5530 Foods and Fruits, freshest in the West End. It's the background music in my nightmares at this point, but it's also the only thing I ever did right in life, even if it was built on a foundation of sloppy spell checking and slightly unwrapped mangoes. I like mangoes. But it is silly of me to be mourning that store more than my own kids, isn't it? Silly feels like a euphemism. Knowing Theodore still has some attachment to his past life, bittersweet as it may be, does humanize him a little bit. But the fact that he didn't care much for the daughter he'd been rocked to sleep takes the humanity away. Either way, there is something intriguing about this 5530 situation. The way Theodore talks about it sounds less like a number, more like a life chapter he's never really gotten over. One way or another, those 4 digits may carry major significance. Thank you for writing it down, Cody. Yeah, it's like... I want to go back to the suitcase now. I could ask about your life later. $5530. Yep, it was that simple. But I appreciate you writing down all those numbers anyway, because they could still be important. So thank you. With neither warning nor spectacular flourish, the combination lock whirs open, then thumps onto the carpeted floor. As though gasping its last breath, the briefcase yawns open, revealing a fat manila file stuffed full of documentation detailing Zadrzinski's life. Oh, you were paying attention to every number on the game was practically yellow painting 5530. Yeah, it really was just that simple. But you never know. You never know sometimes. Precious in the West End, indeed. If it weren't for Theodore's impending evaporation, you'd offer to become a 5530 Foods and Fruits' most loyal companies thanks to this. You reach into the briefcase and retrieve the massive collection of barely held together medical reports and interview transcripts. There's at least 10 pounds worth of paper to pour through. Alright. Oh, jeez, there really is. God. I see, he's like AB type. Like AB, known blood donor, genetic material on record. He does have surgical history. He's allergic to pollen. It's like same. Oh, he's allergic to shellfish. They can remove allergies? I wonder if they can add allergies. Yeah, 10 pounds, write that down. Lactose intolerant. Okay. Well, the equal parts of informative and gibberish. Most appeared to cover the preliminary evaluations that Zadrzinski underwent pre-evaporation, and the thoroughness with which Kuroka carried them out. There's, however, one specific detail in the case file that surprises you. Known dental history, NA. Theodore appears never had any dental records to begin with. That would definitely explain how his compost brown chompers managed to degenerate that badly, but does explain what caused the neglect to begin with. More perplexing is why Kazuo is determined to mangle his patient's jaw if there's no way for him to be tracked down through dental profiling. Is it a mistake? Or something he willingly overlooked? Probably because of his fucking halitosis. He's so stinky. In any case, you suspect it'll be tough to change the supervisor's mind. It doesn't exactly strike as the type of person eager to take the easy way out. You haven't seen a dentist in 15 years, but your teeth are perfectly healthy. I go twice a year. Because genetics. Evidence might let you convince him that torturing Theodore is a net negative, but unless you get to know him better, you'll be left to no clear idea how to best persuade him. Well, let's go talk to him. Let's see. Do we have to do this to Theodore? Aren't there less drastic ways to evaporate him? Yeah, no matter how badly Zadrzinski wants a fresh start, there must be some alternative that would spare him excess pain. Plus, you really don't want to touch those molding compost lumps of teeth that become with or without pliers. Like, can't you at least give him anesthetic? Kazuo's firm expression does not waver, but you do notice the nerves in his neck go tauter than drawn bowstrings. Seems you have offended him. Grievously, no less. You'd have been better off spitting in his mother's face during an open casket funeral. Oof. One you were specifically not invited to, nor dressed appropriately for. I recognize you're still unfamiliar with our craft, so I will not hold this suggestion against you. But understand that your request is tantamount to travesty. First, providing an aesthetic would go against our department's historic values of providing consensual self-erasure. During a procedure as drastic and dramatic as evaporation, it is perfectly natural for a client to lose faith in their decision, whether due to suffering or second thoughts. But anesthetic denies the possibility of backing out in the heat of the moment. Extending Theodore's aversion to orally invasive interferences, it is imperative we provide them these opportunities. Secondly, I would ask you to consider how much pain this man willingly put himself through already. Whether by the removal of his fingerprints, or by being forced to leave loved ones behind without goodbyes. Evaporation is an intensely punishing experience, even for the most determined souls. If we, the technicians Theodore entrusted his fate to, suddenly balked at a fraction of the agony he endured, his faith in our process would be annihilated. Failing to match his determination or failing to remain stoic when he needs reassurance most, that would only insult his sacrifice and make this disturbing experience even more difficult to bear. With a tired sigh of an old man who has worked a hard job for too long, a wave of exhaustion seems to sweep over Kazuo. He suddenly looks his age. He sags beneath the weight of his lab coat, and the knives he once wielded deftly look too heavy for his wrinkled hands. I understand your reluctance to harm an innocent man, but duty demands us to do what must be done, and I would see mine performed with discipline rather than self-serving cowardice. It seems like the guy really does care about treating his clients with empathy. Whether or not it's a sane form of empathy is definitely up for debate, but it's better than you would have expected from this deranged office. That being said, Kazuo clearly has some unresolved baggage when it comes to maintaining an aura of sanctity and professionalism during these gruesome procedures. He's hyper-fixated on doing things the old-fashioned way, for better and for worse. Which means there could be an alternative approach to raising Theodore's dental records he hasn't fully considered. It's not giving me an option, so let me take a closer look at the pegboard? Did I do that yet? Yeah, it's like you scour the paperwork for potentially relevant information. Though most appear to be messily written medical files, one sheet in particular is listed as evidence used to justify Smyrna Corp employees' internal assassination. Okay. Let's see. Kazuo said you have dentistry-related trauma? Your question, much like a mishandled root canal, seems to have struck a nerve. Theodore winces as though you already naked out one of his compost-colored molars. He begins to shiver, rattling the metal device strapped to his head. Luckily, you've lent an ear to Zadrudinsky's play long enough for him to show some trust in you. Okay, good. After a few quick, shallow breaths, he decides to confess. My dad was a dentist, but more importantly, he was an alcoholic. A violent one. At first, he'd only go after my mother, calling her names or breaking things when he got angry. But the day he struck her, she filed for divorce and left his ass right then and there. Smart move, I think. Problem was, her being gone meant he could only take his anger out on me. It started off small, some name-calling when he'd catch me eating sweets, sending me to bed hungry if I didn't brush my teeth, but pretty soon it got dangerous. He'd scream and spit at me if I had bad breath, saying he'd never help a patient as disgusting as me. He'd beat me upside the head if he caught me eating processed sugar. He'd even stab me in the arms with dental picks if ever he thought I didn't floss, even if I did, he was usually too drunk to tell the difference. Was your dad fucking the same as Willy Wonka's? Theodore sniffles, milky white eyes glistening with emotion. Yet despite his sorrow, a smile manages to tickle the corners of his bearded lips. After a few shallow breaths to gather his courage, he manages to conclude his story. By the time he drank himself to death and I moved to my first foster home, not taking care of my teeth kind of became a way to get back at him, you know? It was a way to prove he couldn't hurt me anymore, no matter what I did, nor how bad it got. But, it's pretty obvious I let things get way worse than they ever should have, huh? I mean, yeah. You try to reassure him, saying you don't blame him for what happened. The trauma he must have suffered. To resort to such a coping mechanism must have been extreme indeed, and the courage to go through with evaporation despite that is nothing to scoff at. Perhaps reassured by your respectful reaction, Theodore adds a surprising epilogue to his tragic tale. Oh, double cosmic, just in time. Welcome, how you doing? Well, I got so scared of reliving that kind of situation or finding out that every dentist out there would be as bad as he was, I never went to the dentist. Not even once in my entire life. Basically, this whole situation is a baptism by fire, as they say. So here's hoping I don't get burned. Never? Not even once? Well, shit, if this is true, Theodore might not have any dental records in the first place. Yeah, I know. We already saw that. We went in a suitcase. Now, pulling his teeth might be completely unnecessary. You'll have to convince Kurokawa, though. Or Kuroka. There's no promise he'll agree to skip such a step in a procedure, no matter how much suffering it would spare. Do I have any more questions on this side? No. Did that give me a new dialogue option, though? It didn't. Maybe I could talk to him during the procedure. Alright, it's time. Tell Kazuo you're ready to begin. I mean, in the worst case scenario, he is consenting, so we at least have that context. If nothing else. And Kazuo is going to try his best to do this humanely, so... Well, as humanely as pulling out teeth is. You confirm your intentions to get the stomach-churning certification over with. You see Sadruzinski wiggle in his seat. Looks both thrilled and horrified that time has come. His supervisor, meanwhile, remains coldly dutiful. But is it informed consent? Yes. It's like, in fact, we asked, like, why aren't you doing anesthesia? And he said, because he wants to make sure that if he wants to back out while doing the procedure, he can. So it's like, it's twisted and messed up, but it has logic to it. I was beginning to worry your resolve would never be sufficiently steeled, but I'm glad to see my expectations surpassed. With a look of icy purpose, Kazuo refastens the metallic device around Theodore's jaw, prying them wide open and locking them into place. Both gnarled steel and Sadruzinski let a strange whine, his putrid teeth now out on full display. Does he know that he doesn't have dental records? I tried to see if I could tell him, but it wasn't giving me the dialogue choice. So that's why I'm like, I don't know if there was a way, if I had to do something else, but I wasn't sure. That's why I'm just proceeding to see if I can do it during the procedure or something. If not, at least I can say I tried. The once smiling man trembles, tears leaking from his milky eyes. Waves of bad breath, potent as knockout gas, hit you one after another as he starts to hyperventilate. His nails rake the armrest of his dentistry chair, finding purchase in the tattered upholstery, as if countless others had crawled at it before him in a futile bid to escape. Kuroka nods to the pliers in your fist, urging you to give Theodore a reason to start clawing harder. You're shaking too much to hold his head. Without a steady grip, our procedure could cause unnecessary injuries. I'm afraid you will have to pluck Mr. Zadruzinski's teeth. Luckily, they are rotten and should be relatively effortless. Physically speaking, that is. Theodore's whimpers grow louder, his shrill breaths becoming faster and faster. If he's trying to tell you something, you can't make out the words. A high-pitched ringing raises in your ears like an alarm siren meant to keep you from engaging in this nightmare. Are you ready? No. Propose a less violent alternative to complete the evaporation. I think I have enough evidence. Your worst Smirnokorth is thorough when it comes to world domination, and Kazuo is committed to keeping his clients completely untraceable, no matter how minute the details. You're convinced there has to be an easier, more humane solution than this. On hearing a suggestion, Theodore's brows perk with bewildered reprieve, like a prisoner spotting their cell key, falling from a warden's pocket. Kazuo, meanwhile, appears downright insulted. Leaving his patient's side, he takes a few steps closer till you can feel the angry heat coming out of his nostrils and see cracks of frigid rime forming in his ice-cold eyes. If you're asking me to compromise the quality of our services solely to appease your own aversions, you'll find no such leniency under my supervision. Believe me, I too would prefer a bloodless method, but we resort to these means for a reason, and I pride myself at being a thorough technician. Therefore, I refuse to contemplate alternatives that would potentially jeopardize the anonymity my patients seek. Therefore, you'd best provide thoughtful suggestions supported by demonstrable evidence. Gladly. The small of your back grows slick with cold sweat as Kazuo murmurs his threat. Fear forms a thick lump in your throat as you gather the shards of your gathered courage, preparing to state your case. But unless you have a good one, you'd best resign yourself to improv dentistry. I think we have enough evidence. Let's see. Point out the inconsistencies in this file. Whipping out the hefty stack of convoluted paperwork, you mark at the NA entry marked under dental history. Yeah, be like, take that! It's like, I've played Ace Attorney. I've played enough Ace Attorney to know what I'm doing. It's like, I played all of them, even the spin-offs. First Kazuo squints with suspicion, but soon a certain expression becomes tinged with aghast bewilderment. You're sure you didn't alter this information yourself? Cross your heart and hope to die, figuratively speaking, of course. The supervisor curses under his breath, no doubt furious at himself for overlooking the obvious contradiction. Despite his exterior of ice-cold professionalism, overwork must have really been wearing him down. After pacing about the room at an anxious pace, Kuroka questions you once more. Did you authenticate this discovery with Mr. Zadruzinski? Yes. I asked him his life story. With politician-worthy charisma, you share the sad saga of Zadruzinski's dentist-based phobia. Theodore himself corroborates your claims by grunting, I can't read that word. With that grunting exclamation stirs a gape jaw. Enunciated? Unenunciated. Okay. Kuroka's eyes dart between you both, clearly proud that you interacted with a client at such a personal level. He remains deeply troubled by your discovery. Yeah, I got it, yippee! I can read. The evaporation supervisor mutters under his breath, foot tapping against the carpeted floor at a turbulent tempo. You were honestly expecting relief from him. Not this. Not too much umming and even more ahs. The old man emerges from his anxious trance. His statuette expression is now marred by a streak of sweat, like a fresh yet shallow scar. This changes nothing. The evaporation continues as planned. Get your pliers ready. What? Theodore's jaw somehow opens wider, his pale skin turning bone white. His hopes are dashed upon the rocks, like a ship made of wood, more rotten than his deep brown teeth. Your own jaw must be opened just as wide because Kuroka attempts to reassure you with a stern, sour tone. Regardless of documentation, Mr. Zadruzinski's oral health is uniquely atrocious. Even if he cannot be identified by means of official dental records, word of mouth may suffice to establish a connection to his pre-evaporated self. And subjective rumors are more difficult to dispose of than medical paperwork. Should such a scenario occur, we even risk intervention by substitution, which could lead to Theodore's eventual lobotomization. That's true. You would certainly recognize that hideous smile by sight or smell alone. And Theodore's fresh start has no point if a doppelganger takes his place. Kazuo's concerns do seem rather warranted. But the more you think about it, the more Kuroka's arguments seem a little off. Why would a supervisor who values precision, efficiency, and empathy in his work be so scared of a fringe case hypothetical outcome based mostly on subjective worries, especially if an alternative could spare his patient pain? Whether it's an obsession with tradition, a desire to follow proper procedures, or even concealed sadism, you cannot tell. But either way, you'll have to challenge the decision a little more firmly if you want to spare Theodore pain. But the real question is, would that be worth the potential wrath of a seasoned killer? I will stand my ground. What point is there in saving the world if you can't save a single person? What kind of department can claim to value empathy if they're so eager to harm their clients? It's time you find out what this is really about. Citing your own experiences in child psychology, you argued that removing Zadruzinski's teeth could actually amplify his existing dental-based traumas to a whole new level. A consequence that can make him even easier to recognize in the eyes of those who once knew him, thus putting him in an even greater risk of a lobotomization. And if Kazuo was that scared of hypotheticals, this one should scare him much more. It's like, but what if? It won't. The supervisor seethes as you defy his authority, but the anger is mostly directed at himself. He knows your arguments are sound. He knows the tooth pulling would do more harm than good, and not just to Theodore's gums. Yet Kuroka remains stalwart, even in the face of blatant wrongness. Not for a logical reason, but for a desperately personal one. This department is all that remains of the original Smyrna Corp. The final moral foundation of our founder's legacy. The last crumb of her butchered dream to make the world better. It is an institution that survived the passage of time and changes in leadership through fervent adherence to tradition. Those traditions almost perished when this place was converted into a profit-driven corporation. I cannot afford to cast away the vicious few that remain, even for our patients' well-being. Skipping this step of the procedure might save Theodore, but it could also endanger the entire department. Endanger the only thing that continues to give meaning to my life. Oh. An uncomfortable silence fills over the room, punctuated by the creak of Theodore's jaw brace and the huff of his deep, gasping breaths. Kazuo glares your way without blinking, as though daring you to debate him, but the man looks too pitiful and too tired to scare you anymore. It's clear that his hang-ups and insecurities have taken over. His obsession with honoring evaporation's principles was always a recurring motif throughout your conversations, but now the fears informing those obsessions have been laid bare, revealing that he's been ruled through fear. Typo. So I would see it turned out into a barbaric torture chamber. Yeah. It's like, sir, by trying to preserve it, you are losing its meaning. The real issue, however, is that those hang-ups are about to endanger an innocent man, and trying to talk sense of it might cost you access to the hive if tensions continue to rise. You need to calm him down somehow, remind him of what really matters, so he doesn't make a mistake he regrets or taint the traditions he's trying to protect. There's many ways you can go about it, but you'll need to choose wisely. You can't afford to endanger your promised certification. And beat ruled. I will demonstrate my resolve by defending my decision until the bitter end. If Kazuo wants to see willpower, you'll show him willpower. Prove yourself as unrelenting mule-headed as Kuroka himself. You refuse to pull Theodore's teeth. You're going to repeat your prior arguments ad infinitum. Infinitum. This guy might be a trained assassin specializing in identity theft, but you're a cripplingly bummed loser with a chemical predisposition for picturing worst-case scenarios. Your ability to come up with misery-inducing what-if arguments is second to none. Clinical depression being weaponized, yippee! There's no way Kazuo can convince you pulling Theodore's teeth is preferable to the alternatives you can imagine. After what feels like hours of debating, both of you are short of breath and unwilling to concede defeat. Until you hear Theodore snoring. Spit bubbles swell inside his wretched open mouth, milky eyes twitching as he dreams peculiar dreams, lulled to sleep by your endless, repetitive bickering. With yet another sigh, Kuroka's scowl becomes a sad smirk. Seems you've won by default, new blood. I said you'd remain an obstacle to the operation, even if you hadn't. Very well. I'll humor your concerns and have Zadruzinski's procedure postponed, pending further peer review. Considering how strongly you feel about this, I believe it might be wise to gather insight from my colleagues before acting rationally. Rashly. I may feel strongly about the evaporation, but I have no authority to break company regulations, nor can I establish reliable consent with an unconscious client. I've no choice but to revisit the dossier on another day. Besides, whether or not this extraction is the correct decision, I was clearly acting far too rashly to make major decisions. Therefore, I appreciate you for encouraging me to reconsider, and I'm sure Theodore is grateful as well. I may not agree with your position, but I must confess, your display of stalwart compassion would make our founder proud. I cannot fault you for defending a client in the name of your own values, no matter how misguided the stats. And for that reason... Kazuo reaches for something beneath his lab coat and hands you a sheet of punctured cardboard with a proud smile. Beneath a layer of thick dust, the words Evaporation Certification are boldly inscribed. I get the certification, let's go! You didn't earn this the old-fashioned way, new blood, but you deserve it nonetheless. Slip it into the elevator's punch card slot once you've collected the rest. That will give you complete access to any area in this building. On that note, the hour grows late. I should get Mr. Zadruzinski in bed. and I suggest you get some well-earned rest as well. I'll let you know what I've decided to do when the time has come. You deserve that much closure at least, whether for good or ill. Well, not a perfect outcome, but better than you could have hoped for. Not only did you earn the supervisor's begrudging respect, you've kept your hands clean in the process.
Yippee! No stinky teeth. Let's go.
Well, relatively clean anyway. There's a lot of dust on your certificate. Yeah, I'll thank him. Just go. Like, thank you. Gambate. The supervisor bows, vowing he'll pass your feelings along and that you'll have a place here as a student, should you ever pursue a career in evaporation. By the time you've come up with an excuse that would spare you such a bloody fate, you're already out of earshot. Weaving past dying houseplants and dusty furnishings, you retrace your steps through the maze of convoluted hallways that led you to this exhausting foray into evaporation. That said, it's a relief you were able to spare Theodore from needless suffering, all while appeasing Cosmo's concerns. If it weren't for your sharp eyes and empathy, your closing shift would have met a way bloodier end.
Yippee! I'm so smart.
At least you're walking out of here with certification to show for all that trouble. 1 down, 3 to go. Hopefully the other certificates won't be as hard to get. Boarding the office elevator, you key in the password to reach the lobby and prepare for your trip home. For no reason in particular, you find yourself extremely motivated to brush your teeth tonight.
Yay!
Personally, I've pulled the teeth and laughed. It's like, well, if you buy this game, you could do that. Tuesday morning is upon you. Another day, another company certification in dire need of acquisition. Oh, your thoughts sound more bureaucratic with every passing day. Mr. Bugard would be proud, and that's especially scary to think about. Today, the reception room is abuzz with staffers scurrying about. Most carry stacks of paperwork the size of toddlers on growth hormones, while others yell over candlestick phones for their colleagues to run faster. Woman's on the ground, hugging her knees, rocking back and forth. She mumbles something about deadlines having a way too literal meaning in a place like Smyrna Corp. You're inclined to believe her. However, amid the sea of stress and screaming, one man stands above all others, seeming to enjoy this. Statuesque in his demeanor, he approaches you with a resplendent grin. Speak of the corporate devil. Hello there, friend. Glad to see you up and at it so early in this morning. And even gladder to see someone with a little pep in their step today. But you must have no trouble smiling, eh? I heard your first certification went quite smoothly yesterday.
Hi, Daffy. What do you want, baby? What do you want, Stinky? I think he's craving violence.
Smoothly might be a strong word, but... Smile and nod. Your cheeks ache as they stretch to match the gaping breadth of Abuya's smirk. You spare a thought for Mezuline, wondering if her face feels this sore all the time. Regardless, your mask must be just as convincing. The behemoth doesn't suspect a thing.
Yeah, pretty kitty.
It's like he decided to flop on the floor like a bum. Be sure to keep up the good work. And while you're at it, I have a bit of a favor to ask. You might even call it a personal one. Favor? Before you can ask to know more, the man presses a Bratwurst thick finger against your lips. His blue eyes thin into slits, scanning the crowds of scrambling staffers with unmitigated suspicion. The giant leans in close, almost kneeling to whisper in your ear. His breath burns hot as furnace fire against the side of your face. I don't mean to alarm you, but I've heard reports of rather suspicious behavior occurring as of late. Fake government documentation gone missing. Doppelganger IDs stolen. Invoices from clients spotted in the trash. Coincidence is too convenient to merely be happenstance. I fear there may be another Emiliano among us. Another Emiliano among us. A traitor hoping to cause a data breach just ahead of our historic partnership. And it's my job to have them disposed of. Your stomach twists into macram-like knots. Obungus. Whether because of fear or Buya's breath, sweat drips down your brow, leaving you lightheaded. You work your jaw, wiggle your tongue, unable to form words with it, and unsure if you even should. Do you tell him this must be a coincidence caused by office-wide overwork? Do you feign some fear of getting hurt? Or do you assume for survival's sake that he knows the rat is you? Just as the pressure becomes too much to bear, Bogard claps your shoulder with the force of a speeding Winnebago. As you cough, catching your breath, he backs away, grinning wider than ever. Long story short. Yeah, back I'd greatly appreciate you reporting any suspicious behaviors. A keen eye like yours circulating all across the office would be a priceless asset in this hunt. Now I'm afraid both of us have much to do today. Ta-ta for now, and best of luck with your certifications. With a jaunty hum and jolly stride, the tweed behemoth fades away into the manic crowds, leaving you alone and alarmed. You need to hurry. If a guard's suspicions worsen, you could run out of time even sooner than expected. Squirming past your scrambling colleagues, you make your way for the elevators. Where will we go? Yeah, we're already on this floor anyway. Let's go with encryptology. Yeah, the tweed behemoth sounds like a Souls-like boss. Yeah! It's like, imagine this guy walking up to you and he suddenly has a health bar and you're like, why is the boss music playing? Oh, he's that kind of boss. The encryptology apartment. Thanks to multiple neon signs guiding your way in throngs of employees shambling from meeting room to meeting room, finding your way to the encryptology department is pretty straightforward. But actually moving through the department is another matter altogether. At every bend in the floor's winding halls, you encounter a new type of security checkpoint barring your path. Some are simple, like signing your name on a guest record. Others use price scanners to examine your microchip before unlocking a door. Most are completely incoherent. At one point, you're asked to wiggle your hand over a theremin until you produce a specific frequency. It's like, oh, I've played one of those before. You're like, woo, woo, woo. Another you're presented with a series of Rorschach tests. As to identify which ones remind you of 1896 Anglo-Zanzibar War. I gotta tickle my throat. You pretty much fumbled your way through each test by complete accident. Well, they failed the theremin one, but maybe failing was the point. Well, you wish you could have learned more about encryptology before coming, because this all feels especially nonsensical, even by Smyrna Corp standards. That said, even though the checkpoints grow stranger the deeper you go, something else is becoming even harder to ignore. The foul stench of cigarette smoke thickens with every step you take. It's as if the source of the office's inescapable tobacco aroma lingering beneath the usual ammoniac bouquet is drawing near. Sure enough, as you reach the end of the hall, you're stopped by an ordinary office door with smog-thick fumes seeping through the cracks. You're reminded of a locomotive's coal engine, stoked to its utmost limit. Though rather than chugging of a train, you hear different sounds coming from inside. The non-stop ticking of fingertips against keyboards, the unmistakably scratchy screech of an overworked printer, and the muffled snarling noises of two particularly pissed-off people. Taking a closer look at the door, you see a sign hanging from a nail. It reads, Senior Encryptology Supervised Office. I have no idea how to say that. Siobhan T. Pembroke. I'm going with that. Beneath it, a shorter handwritten message has been scrawled with black Sharpie. I have permission to smoke from Bugard himself. If any of you tell me to stop again, I'll bust your goddamn kneecaps. Chauvorn? You learned how to pronounce that at some point, but you forgot. How do those letters make Chauvorn? How hospitable. This must be where you'll learn your certification. Do you actually want to be here right now? There's another note. Double Michi, welcome. Yeah, you're here for the laugh tax? Well, here you go. Irish is like that. Oh, it's Irish. Okay. Yeah, I laughed at could thaw the coldest heart. Well, I am a Kizune, so I use my fire magic. The BH is pronounced like a V and E, access an A. Okay, so it is Shavorn. Shavorn! Alright, then I guess when it's time for the guy to talk, I'll have to do my best Irish accent. Top of the morning to you, laddies. Yeah, welcome, Michi. How you doing? Pinned is a euphemism. This thing was nailed with a railroad spike. Smoke seeps through the fissured wood like sulfur from volcanic bedrock. Huh? You can't tell if it's supposed to be a warning to keep out or a warning directed at those inside. But there's a very familiar name on it. Yeah, elevator replacement request. Step inside. No point dilly-dallying if it only worsens your odds. Plus, by the sound of things, they might appreciate a helping hand. With a softly hushed "excuse me," you turn the handle and enter. An eye-watering waft of cigarette smoke violates your senses. Vision blurs as tiny ashes stab your eyes like shards of glass. Ow. The smog is so thick and pungent, it makes your skin itch something fierce. Your taste buds and nostrils are both infested by an astringent aroma, ringing down your orifices in a race to suffocate you. Only your ears are spared by the vile smog, but a smoker's croaking, crooning rasp is quick to remedy that. Oi, shut the door, you daft prick! You're letting fresh air in! You'd argue that fresh air could preserve what little remains of her respiratory health, but it doesn't sound like she's up for debate. Oh, as a woman. With a sputtering cough, you close the door and facing yourself within a hot box of workplace stress and cheap tobacco. Finding a way to smoke, you blink back your stinging tears and take in your surroundings. Like the ruins of a castle rising from the mist, the supervisor's office reveals itself to you as crumbling pieces of a once glorious whole. It's like, I don't know if Shaborn is a male or female name. I'm stupid. When it comes to names, specifically. It's a dirty, claustrophobic castle, chock full of discontinued computer models with yellow plastic castings and inconsistent bleeping noises, but a castle nonetheless. Towers. Crooked stacks of yellow documents form lofty pillars that connect floors and ceilings. A whirring printer vomits even more pages, each one peppered with lines of Morse code. Motes. Rows of worn-down cardboard boxes crisscross the dusty ground, making your footing treacherous. Stored bits of junk overflow with each one, including broken rotary phones, copper wiring, floppy disks beside your torso. You nearly dated a Shavorn once? Lol. Ramparts. Shelves are arranged like imposing parapets along every wall, stacked with laminated newspaper clippings, obscure magazine issues, and stainless steel time capsules. The latter are still stained with dirt, as if recently dug up. Night. With a K. Knight. A man works at a corner, angrily muttering as he uses a wrench to repair a Gutenberg-era printing press. The gleam of sweat on his balding head is almost brighter than the whiskey bottle resting by his feet. Upon the castle's throne, a rickety-ratty computer chair sits the realm's obvious queen. She's an old, angry lump of a woman with a face more gnarled than knotted tree bark having a bad day. The cigarette at her lips is only one among the millions piled atop her desk, like twigs assembled to form a nest for nicotine-addicted birds. Her eyes smolder as she scowls your way. Siobhan Pembroke, you presume? Well, you're a mangy-looking one. Can't say I remember a face like yours. Well, whatever your business is, I ain't got time for it. I'm up to my neck in dry shite paperwork, and I'm too bloody knackered to be humoring greenhorns. Unless you're here to approve the request I sent Bogart for backup, I suggest you piss off back the way you came. Driving the point home, the craggedy roan motions to The crackety crone motions to her cluttered desk, buried beneath a snowdrift-sized mound of cigarette ash. Peeking out from underneath is a cute little picture frame showing a much giddier-looking Siobhan. 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 And almost a dozen DOS computers flashing lines of text at her. Most contain words like urgent or overdue. Emphasizing those warnings, the man grunts a wordless grunt, tinkering somewhere in the corner of this reeking semi-prehistoric technoscape. Hell might have charged you with sabotaging a world-dominating mega corporation, but something tells you these two are under even more stress. Jawohl. There might be a way to use that stress to your advantage, though. It's like, yeah, I'll leave after I get my certification. If she won't beat around the bush, neither will you. With a little luck, she'll be eager to get rid of you. She'll just toss your certificate without testing your competence whatsoever. Wishful thinking, perhaps. Unfortunately, Siobhan seems to interpret your request as a scheme that won't benefit her in any way whatsoever. Though it's hard to tell with a face like hers, that woman seems to become a bit more irritated. You must be that no intern the boy you talked about. Well, I was expecting a small battalion instead of a one-man army, but I'll take what I can get. Our whole backlog is a much back order. It's not like you could flip it even more arseways. Not even your scrotum sheddingly off. Not unless your scrotum sheddingly awful at this. Anyway, let's start off simple. How much were you told about what we do here? It's like trying to sound like an old hag with an Irish accent is just making me sound like a middle-aged male New Yorker. Oops. I'm trying. Yeah. There you go, Pig Kitty. Oh, Narjeni, welcome. How you doing? You let out a drawn-out that inspires a little confidence and erodes any goodwill you might have earned. Rolling her eyes, Pembroke snorts thick clouds of smoke through her exasperated flare nostrils. Yeah, can't stop New Yorkin'. Yeah, by all means, lurk. Welcome. Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. How do I keep getting the one stick as manure and half as useful? Long story short, we handle internal security for these shambles of an office. Safety protocols, data confidentiality, historical record alteration, that sort of thing. But most of all, we handle the encrypting of information. By using old-fashioned tech, keeps it safer and harder to extrapolate by any spanner stupid enough to try getting their hands on it. If you want to know more, ask someone who ain't up to 90 with deadlines. And as for what you'll be doing with us today, I'll be assigning ye to that chunky bad boy over there. It's the least screw-upable terminal we got. With the crooked finger, Siobhan points to a bulky piece of machinery that reminds you of the dashboard of an USSR submarine. The desk-shaped hunk of metal appears to weigh half a ton, excluding the various propane tanks. Propane? And photography fluid canisters attached to its flanks. Between its periscope-like viewport, its assortment of whirring film reels, and some flickering laser pointers, it's one of the most convoluted-looking objects you've ever encountered at Smiracorp. It's like, at least the accent is entertaining. Do I know what I'm doing? No. Am I trying my best? Yes. If this is the least screw-upable appliance of the bunch, you'd hate to see the one research for experts. We call this the abolisher. It's a device we use to edit, alter, or falsify audio-visual footage. This way we can keep folks as ignorant or informed about real-world events as management wants. Ever wonder why kangaroos only live in Australia? Why no one knows how many gay lovers President Charles de Gaulle had? Well, ye can thank this chunky fella for all his hard work. Now I'm gonna be sorting through the video content, those brain-dead tools, and future-proof and flagged for revision. Then I'm gonna label them with directives telling you what to look for. Finally, you've flagged the appropriate section for altercation. You send it to my idiot assistant who'll add another layer of encryption as per protocol. Review, identify, abolish. If you can pull that off with flying colors, I'll give you full certification just like a booyah ordered. Got an agreement? Hell yeah. Yours, the video engineering isn't nearly as dramatic as you expected. Unless the footage you review was especially horrific, this seems like a no-brainer. Welcome aboard, stranger. Welcome aboard, stranger. A way to have the right spirit. Here's to hoping you have the right skills, too. Now piss off. Let me work, and go find the operator's manual if you want a proper tutorial. Could be lying in one of the boxes around here. Otherwise, you can always ask me assistant a few questions. Though I couldn't necessarily recommend it. The mechanic shop is a marshmallow and sweet as a septic tank. Behind a row of urine-colored desktop computers adorned with under-repair stickers, an angry man pops out his head. He is bug-eyed with fury, dripping with sweat, and vibrating with anger. And most of all, he's familiar! Holy shit! How about you quit insulting me and get me some proper equipment, huh? I'd be better off using my own dick than these scrappy screwdrivers. Damn right ye would, you pencil-cocked shyhawk. Now quit wrangling and go. Get what? Wangling, wiggling, and go bother the god instead of me. I actually have important stuff to do. The pair's enraged exchange continues for a few more minutes. I'm pretty sure that's the clone Emiliano and not the real one. I think the real one's dead. Until both return to their respective labors, petally ignoring each other. Not to mention ignoring you. I have stunned Steph, and chock full of unanswered, uncomfortable questions, mostly concerning abolishers, doppelgangers, and whether the real Emiliano is alive or dead. Well, let's get looking for answers. Hopefully they'll be preferable to this not-so-blissful ignorance. What's Emiliano doing here? Apart from Chavorn's not-so-sterling endorsement of his encryptology skills, morbid curiosity draws you closer. Last time you saw Aguilar, he was side to side with a perfect copy, screaming at the top of his lungs, and now you're not sure which of the two stands before you. I would like to know that. You tipped over to the agitated man who still mutters insults behind Chavorn's back. His hands are busy welding wrenches to adjust the various pieces of sedan-sized printing press from the dark ages. Truly the most cutting-edge machine imaginable for a cybersecurity department. Bracing for him to yell at you, you quietly clear your throat and hoping he doesn't hear. And while he does whip towards you, eyes twitching like mad, his greeting is alarmingly polite. Hey there, newbie. Glad to have you on board today. The cavalry couldn't have come at a better time. Oh, and sorry for all the shouting earlier. I'm working on getting my temper under control, but the boss has a way of testing my patience. And having the dang printer act up on me doesn't make the anger management easier. Name's Emiliano, by the way. Pleasure to meet ya. So it is the clone. You return the greeting with a clammy, palmed handshake, unable to speak through the lump in your throat. Despite helping Obuya coordinate his scalpel-based attitude adjustment, it seems you've never properly introduced yourself to this guy. Despite Aguilar begging for your mercy from across the two-way glass, you can't exactly blame him for having moles in his memory, especially when those surgical drills made the holes pretty literal. After disgustingly wiping your hand fierce sweat off his slacks, the potential, parentheses, Aguilar Intimidator gestures to the broken printing press with his rusted monkey wrench. You try not to notice the resemblance between accumulated corrosion and crusted blood. Anyway, I've got a lot to do today. Despite my therapist's best efforts, I've got a real short fuse. I'll do my best to help you out, but don't blame me if I get a little snappy. Let's keep things to business talk today. Save the volatile water cooler gossip for next week when I'm less high-strung. That's a pretty convenient excuse to stay away from topics related to his personal life. Though if he really is your best bet of learning to use the abolisher, you probably want to stay on his good side. If you do want to know what's happened to the real him... Let's talk about the abolisher first, since we do need to use that. You risk a glance at the half-ton amalgam of cast iron and film reels, worried it could suddenly rise from its slumber, like a sleeping fairy tale dragon built by World War II engineers. Emiliano notes your apprehension with an arched brow and a judgmental stare. Did you read the own operator's manual like Javord told you? Well, no. Haven't found it yet, but... Then get your ass in gear and crack that book open before finding out about crap you should already know. I don't care how hard it is to find, unless you're some kind of illiterate freak, you've got no excuse for ignorance. Sorry, temper problems again. Still, take it from me. Miss Pembroke does not take kindly to people who can't show a little resourcefulness. Take some initiative before you come nagging her overworked goats for tips. You're best off looking for it near the trash cans. I think I tossed it in there after I lost my shit at the Abolisher a few weeks ago. That thing might not be complicated to use, but it is fickle. Go back with your friend and I'll see if I can lend you a hand. Okay. Well, insults aside, that was a pretty rational counterpoint. While the cryptology office may be at absolute best, at least you have an arrow search radius to work with. Best get taking come back once you've done the bare minimum. There's a note folded under Emiliano's whiskey bottle. What? You find a dusty handwritten letter that must have been forgotten long ago. It seems to be one from Aguilar's drinking buddies, both praising and bemoaning cryptology's tight security. Who knows if the new Emiliano ever read it? Let's say. Greetings, Comrade Aguilar. Well, it's been another frustration-filled day in the evaporation department. Let's just say I'm more than ready for a break. I look forward to sharing a cup of mead with you in the employee lounge. Hope you don't mind to bail at the last minute the way you... I hope you don't plan to bail at the last minute the way you did last time, and leave you waiting alone for someone who never shows up. Not that I don't sympathize with your reoccurring migraines, what with the nature of our work and around-the-clock surveillance. You could all salute in cryptology's impressive security protocols. That said, this impregnability has become a bit of a double-edged sword for me. Your sensitive data has been so thoroughly encrypted with such arcane technology, I cannot decode the assignment you've given me at all. Since it presumably contains the name of the man I'm meant to kill, it complicates my job considerably. Just this morning, I hit another dead end. I was sent a canary yellow box, rectangular, about 15 centimeters long, mostly flat with raised buttons on one side. Each one was black and a little wider than a finger. On one of the shorter sides, there were serrated wheels and a tiny black hole encircled by a ring of metal, no bigger than my pinky nail. Turned the box over and over again until I finally decided to press one of the buttons, which required considerable force. Through a transparent panel, something started moving inside, or spinning, I should say. In my surprise, I almost dropped the encrypted assignment transmission device and scattered on the floor. Double leakage, welcome, how you doing? The thing moving inside was a translucent gray with circles surrounded by pale grills resembling the sharp teeth of a cat. What was it, Schrodinger? I filled with the box for a few minutes before I figured out that it opens, or more accurately, splits open. When you press firmly on one of the dark buttons, then the object's circular dance stops. I'm able to pull it from the box, a small rectangle, almost flattened and a little warm, with two white circles that remind me of motionless eyes. How in God's name should I decode this? I've been informed that I would find my password for tonight's assignment on the cassette. What the devil is a cassette? The same one as one of those begulling faxes you keep insisting exist in the outside world? Regardless, hats off to you and your work. This is proven to be a very difficult code to crack. I know I'll be spending the rest of my shift on this. For now, I'm trying to see whether the smooth, tiny strip running through the cassette, if the thing really is a cassette, can be safely extracted. I'm assuming there is a cipher encoded within, possibly activated in UV lighting or to be soaked in ethanol for text to appear. I might also try licking it to see what happens. Blech. As I recall, you used smell-o-vision video footage in another case. Either way, please don't cancel tonight's meet and mead. The best, Comrade Pedersen. That might be important later. Yeah, so let me go find the... Yeah, search for the manual. He gave me a hint. If time is of the essence, technical documentation is too. Plus, it'll probably contain a few tips these jaded technicians overlook. Only finding the damn thing weren't so complicated. Welcome to the cough drop portion of the stream. Blow my nose first. Alright. Siobhan said it would be somewhere in those boxes, but that tip practically hurts more than it helps. Their entire cardboard pyramid stacked in every corner. Stuffed with items of all kinds, from crinkled dot matrix printer paper to old car mufflers. It's not drugs, it's just a cough drop. It's fine. And the few that aren't arranged into architecturally intimidating configurations are spread across the floor in unnavigatable patterns, as if some disgruntled office worker was recreating the world's most cryptic crop circle. It could take you hours to go through all this. That's assuming one false move doesn't cause you to be buried alive beneath the high-stakes bureaucracy version of giant Jenga blocks. Thankfully, Emiliano was kind enough to provide some direction. So it probably was a good thing I talked to him first. Remember having a rotten cough as a kid? Your dad gave you a pill you were supposed to let dissolve. Tastes like earwax. Yeah. That's gross. That's gross. After awkwardly rummaging through enough garbage to embarrass a landfill, you stumble upon a promising-looking booklet, stuffed at the very bottom of an inconveniently positioned box tower. Whipping a layer of cigarette ash from the yellow cover, you reveal a sticker that reassuringly reads, Encryptology and Operator's Manual, yeah. Opening the document to the first page, you begin reviewing a few do's and don'ts. Praying the latter will outnumber the former. Too bad I can't zoom in. The text is tiny. Graphic design clearly isn't the author's passion. That wasn't nearly as informative as you were expecting. Considering how generic the legible advice was, you'd practically feel more comfortable operating a lawnmower than the abolisher. Tossing the operator's manual back into its inconvenient hiding spot, you wipe your grimy hand on the hem of your turtleneck. Alright. I'll talk to him again. I did read the manual this time. That thing ain't exactly the most eye-opening novel of the 21st century, is it? Pembroke wrote it herself. She encrypted almost half the pages to keep blabbermouths from getting their hands on sensitive data. Fat lot of good that did me, though. Anyway, the only tip I can give you is to read the prompts as carefully as possible. They're designed to be kind of cryptic, so the details of what we're covering stay all hush-hush. At first glance, they might seem misleading, or make absolutely no sense. But each one is a set of specific instructions telling you exactly what to do in its own stupid way. Basically, rack your brain a little before you start yanking levers off gut feel alone. Javon's less likely to go full banshee on us that way. Well, that wasn't especially enlightening either. Oh well. Thanking Emiliano for his somewhat brusque assistance, you steered the conversation in a hopefully more helpful direction. Any more games should go with the fictional nonsensical language. Yeah. Yeah, the Raymonese. Alright, what's going on with your identity? I know what you are. Say it. Say it out loud. Italian. Oh, early bird welcome. Yeah, I'll hydrate. I was able to tuck the cough drop in my mouth in the corner of my cheek like a hamster while I drank the water so I wouldn't choke. And Simlish does have some logic in a dictionary, but only the voice actors are allowed to see it. Makes sense. You mind, it sounded challenging, confident, and dramatic, but your voice cracks twice while trying to say it. The man you're accusing more stumped than startled. You're gonna have to be more specific, newbie. Unless what you want means underpaid grease monkey or second generation Venezuelan immigrant. I'm not too sure what you're getting at. Either this doppelganger is really good at playing dumb, or you've made a really big faux pas. Destabilized, you try bringing up the topic of lobotomies and problematic employees, but are only met with bewilderment and soon after frustration. Look, I don't know what you're trying to blame me for, but I don't like it one bit. Either get some actual factual evidence before making accusations, or keep your crackpot theories to yourself. Because I'm quite literally up to my neck in the ladder, and I don't take kindly to you flooding me with more. It's like a friend of yours with shorter hair. There's the unmistakable implication of violence lurking in that threat. One he will not fear to act on, judging by the way he grips his wrench. But there's also the faintest quaver in his voice. A fear that you could see through something he's trying to hide. You can always drop the topic and look for proof before launching your allegation, but there's no guarantee you'll find any. If I had a knife, I could threaten him. Accuse. Being blandly wrong never stopped conservative pundits from trying to prove a stupid point, and it won't stop you either. Thrusting a finger at Emiliano's chest, you warn him that you're onto him. His days as a doppelganger are numbered. Until Angular grabs your finger mid-poke and bends it backwards with a loud damn. Can't tell if it's broken, but you can tell that your fingernail is now scraping the back of your wrist. Trying to break free from his grip, you yell out a yelp of pain, but Emiliano shoves the handle of his wrench against your throat, muffling the cry and strangling you. Maybe you think to yourself those conservative pundits only say the things they do from behind a screen for a reason. Because all it takes is one person trying to choke him to death and everything goes tits up. Yeah, was that necessary? No. Grasp me at the wrench with your one free hand. You try to pry your gullet free, but Aguilar is unflinching, a strength nearly as tremendous as Bougard's. You try calling Siobhan for help. But the only noise that escapes your lips is a hollow crackle as something in your neck is shattered. His eyes, meanwhile, are now inches from yours, but no longer are they bulging nor bloodshot with anxious anger.
Domo spicy welcome. Don't worry, we managed to avoid pulling the teeth.
We were able to talk someone out of it, but I think I'm about to die. Yeah, Bougard could be a doppelganger. Okay, but why, though?
It's part of the job. But yeah, welcome. How you doing?
Rather, they are cold, ice cold and inhuman. Let me ask you something. If hypothetically I really were the thing you claim I am, don't you think that knowledge could put you at serious risk? Especially when you helped design me to kill the family of a person who knew too much. And again, hypothetically, if I really did kill those people, why do you think I would hesitate about killing you?
You woke up from a cat nap? Can't fall asleep? Well, by all means, hang out here while I try to avoid dying.
That's a really good question and very hard to answer with so little oxygen traveling to your brain. For a moment, non-Emiliano presses the wrench against your throat harder. Pressure builds behind your eyeballs, each one threatening to pop out of its socket. You feel your face go hot and red, then numb and deep purple. Something thumps behind your ears before becoming a high-pitched ring. This, you believe, is the last thing you'll hear before dying. Until Aguilar releases you and you fall to your knees, gasping. Whoa! What just happened, newbie? You collapsed out of nowhere. Was that an asthma attack or something? And just like that, the mask is back gone. Never to be removed. Oh, so this is some sleeper agent type shit. Well, if we didn't have any other confirmation before, he's definitely the doppelganger, and it looks like the doppelganger works like a sleeper agent. You scramble to your feet. Too scared to take Emilion's hand when he offers you to when he offers you help to standing. You take deep, desperate breaths, struggling to take your eyes off the thing that stands before you. Jeez, don't scare me like that. I thought you were gonna die for a second. Whatever you did to cause that, I suggest you never do it again. Okay? For your own safety, of course. A wise suggestion. Alright, I think it's time for me to shoot this cough drop. There you go. And that is the end of the cough drop portion of this stream. Like, comment, and subscribe. Bruises aside, you're more than ready to pretend this close encounter never happened. It'll be much easier to do once your windpipe stops making whistling sounds, though. It's like, yeah, we're never doing that again. Yeah, so do I have it like my inventory? Metaphysical? Oh, that's like my... Yeah. Pembroke is abrasive, but I guess I'll learn her secrets. There's a lot Siobhan could teach you about Smyrna Corp's inner workings. And butting up the person in charge of your certification could potentially prevent a lot of pain and misery. Hopefully actually interacting with the woman won't cause you more of both. You hold your breath as you approach the supervisor, the stench of cigarettes growing increasingly rancid the closer you get. The smoke is so thick it practically feels like you're swimming in acrid, semi-corrosive molasses. Your already itching skin only grows more irritated with every puff she takes. Your eyes fare a little better, not just because of the smog, but because they're being irradiated by Siobhan's flickering low-resolution computer screens. The dozen DOS displays precariously teeter atop each other, filled with lines of nigh-illegible text scrolling down at neck-break speeds as Pembroke types up a storm. How anyone could type like that, let alone make sense of 12 incoherent jumbles at once, is completely behind you. The achievement only becomes more impressive when you realize Siobhan isn't even looking at their screens. Her attention is squarely fixated on the picture frame you saw before. A weathered photograph of a brighter-faced, happier-looking, likely tobacco-free Pembroke, celebrating a day at the beach with two young men in sunglasses. Judging by their age, they might be her sons. But neither resemble their mother. Let alone each other. Whatever the case is, Pembroke regards her desk-bound memento with intense concentration, scouring every pixel for potential imperfections. Her lips wiggle as she mutters something hushed, each word adding another mouthful of foul fumes in the office. Me blowing snot in this tissue. Soon the haze grows too thick to bear, and you cough against your will. Siobhan perks up, whirring around in her computer chair, her intense focus giving way to contempt. You got some nerve bothering me right when I was finally started to suck some diesel again. Well, nothing to do about it now. Me groove's already broken. Whatever you want to ask, be quick about it. By the time I'm done with the cig, you better buzz off. Siobhan wiggles a half-consumed cigarette between her lips, indicating how little time she's willing to indulge your inconveniently timed curiosity. Oh, sorry, you won't get the chance to ask everything you want. Let's start by learning more. The person who maintains a shadow part of a shadow organization will likely have some insight on how it operates. Plus, the more you learn about your security measures, the better equipped you'll be to circumvent them. Pembroke reacts to your relatively straightforward inquiry with the single most disgusted expression you've ever seen a human face manage to express. It's the kind of frown someone would make after seeing an unflushed public toilet or while catching their ugliest relative masturbating in a church confessional. Ew.
Didn't I already tell you, sorry ass? I didn't have time to give ye the rundown. You ain't making me feel confident about your ability to follow orders here, greenhorn.
Your face feels hot as you recall Siobhan's warning. But you still repeat the question for remains a valid one. Yeah, it's like, that's very specific. It's like, are you okay, writer? Why is a company that regards the internet the same way Salem, Massachusetts regard witches need a cybersecurity division?
Jesus wept. It's a miracle your mother didn't kill you when she dropped you on your head. Think about this. As soon as you give any sort of device the power to go online in any way whatsoever, you're giving someone the power to break into it from the outside. And from there they can get their mitts on any data the device has on storage, plus records of other devices it's connected to in the past. Plus, even if your device hasn't surfed the web yet, all it takes is one cheeky cunt with sticky fingers and an instruction manual to crack the sucker open. It's Smirnoff hates the thought of that shit happening. Which is why our daily grind involves preventing scenarios like that before they even happen. Any old gobbing could implement two-factor authentication or install half-decent password protection, but we translate reports into single-use cipher languages, record footage, video footage on discounted media formats, develop locks and protocols even upper management ain't allowed to crack, because the best protection against invasion is total discombobulation. Even if some bold bastard were to break in here and steal me laptop, he'd need to know DOS programming, the Fourier transform equation, and enough Akkadian grammar to run for president in Mesopotamia before decoding a single file. And that's assuming he can figure out my hard drive is hidden but inside a Betamax cassette player. Good lord. Hell, even I don't know how to crack the code on half the bleeding documents we made. To prevent loose ends and accidental leaks, things even have to stay cryptic for the people doing the encrypting.
Sheesh. Hard not to be a little impressed by the amount of work Pembroke does, even if it's in the service of concealing doppelgangers or helping bureaucrats rule the world. And you never heard of Serena Corfeld a few days ago, she must run a very tight ship. So there's one thought in particular that's been nagging you. If this department struggles to keep track of their own work, how does anyone remember which historical facts Miracorp alter and which ones they haven't?
That's the kicker, Greenhorn. Upper management's done such a shite job of modern archival. Nobody knows anymore.
Does that mean there's not a single person on Earth who knows how deep the rabbit hole really goes? Is all of humanity's history an unwinnable game of hide and seek? I guess so. Yeah, if Serena Corp can't keep track of its own bullshit, how come people don't know it exists? In any story about this still, plot holes stick out like sore thumbs. If this company has been replacing people and spreading misinformation ever since you were born, there should be countless obvious inconsistencies out there. The public should have caught on to them years ago.
You're absolutely right, Greenhorn, but you're forgetting about the future-proofing department. Their whole job is to keep Smirnoff stories straight and prevent the public from suspecting this stuff's a mess. And just because they can't remember what the truth is doesn't mean they can't spit up a bloody convincing lie. If anything, not knowing the truth sometimes makes lying easier, according to Beatrice. As long as they don't introduce blatant inconsistencies into the stories people were fed, why would anyone suspect a thing? It's like trying to find out how much you don't know about something. It's as dead ends get.
She makes a point. A terrifying, stomach-churning point. And churning only worsens when you consider just how thoroughly Smirnoff must have altered basic fundamental truths for them to lose track of their own subversions. At this point, half the company's business model could be based around fixing problems they themselves created. For a moment, Siobhan regarded you with pity. Perhaps she felt the same way you do a long time ago, but after a deep whiff of smoky air, her genius returns.
Anyway, that's the gist of it. The world's real history is probably lost to time at the bottom of a bottomless well-stacked hive with obfuscation. And our job is to keep stacking it higher. All because some overpaid suits couldn't keep their own bloody wedges organized. It would be damn near poetic if it weren't so bloody pathetic. From what I hear, the nursery department is the only place that's still got half-decent archival procedures. But I'll be fucked to hell and back before I try finding out how they do it. Only a proper nutcase would go down there.
You've been called worse. Still, now you know why Alice was so adamant about finding data from the hive. It might be the only reliable source of information in this entire building, if not the entire world. Who are the people in the photograph? Whoever these young men are, Pembroke must care about them deeply if she's smiling so much in a portrait. Because you definitely don't imagine the current Pembroke ever smiling that way. You run down the list of possible candidates with increasing uncertainty. Are they your sons, friends' kids, nephews, cousins, unlikely polycule partners, strangers holding her at gunpoint and asking her to smile mid-robbery? You look at this photograph.
Oh, damn! Nah, they're just doppelganger Smirnikov hired to pretend to be my family. Never actually met the lads, even though they've been deployed for 10 years by now. Picture's completely fake, but it's a real convincing one, isn't it?
Oh, it sure is. Convincing enough to make you wonder if you've gone completely insane. Why the hell is she so calm? Those are her children she's talking about. How could she keep working for a company that had them erased from history like it was nothing? Doesn't she care? Is she angry or miserable or anything?
Settle down, you pesky little melter. This here's all news to me. I don't need someone to worry about a disappearance I personally helped the department cover up. Aye, me boys were lovely lads, and I miss them with all me heart. But they were too bloody clever for their own damn good, and they took after their gobshite father more than I would have wanted. The company needed to have them removed before they started steering humanity down a non-management approved road. Plenty of other cunts at this company went through the same effing thing.
The lemon juice welcome, is this Mungus? Yeah.
Which is why I volunteered to oversee the case personally. I had to make sure neither one would ever get caught at Smirnikov again, nor uncovered by some nosy member of the public. Anyone else would have half-assed the job and made things even worse for him, but I gave that assignment my all. Now no one knows what happened to him, not even me.
It's like there goes any pity you felt for. Well, you know, it's complicated.
Call me a psychopath all you want. I'm proud of what I've done. It was the last thing I could do as a mother to keep him safe, shy the thing as it may seem.
Shy indeed feels appropriate. Yeah, shy indeed feels appropriate. You're in no position to pass judgment on a situation this complex, though that doesn't mean you feel comfortable with any part of it. And who knows how you would have reacted if faced with the same situation. But still. If she misses her kids so much, why does she keep a picture of the people who took their place? It'd be one thing if she looked at those doppelgangers with resent, or sadness, or even misplaced longing. But she was staring at the photo like it was the clue to an ongoing crime scene. One she herself created and therefore could solve in an instant.
If ye were any slower, you'd be late to your own birth. First of all, if I knew where me boys were at or how the company dealt with them, there'd be a massive oversight. All it'd take is one wrong word that half indirectly acknowledges something tangibly related to the situation, and I create a link that jeopardizes a century of post-truth manipulation. And secondly, well, just quit a little.
Javon taps the picture frame, urging you to look closer. Confused by the request, you lean in until your nose brushes the glass till you can count the pixels forming her eldest son's nose hairs. Except they're not pixels at all. They're numbers, letters, symbols combined by millions into a convoluted array similar to an unsolved crossword puzzle. Is this an encryptology file?
You're right on the money. It's the one folder from this case I didn't personally take care of. And as much as I hate to admit it, the cunt they assigned to it did one whoop of a job. I still can't figure out if this is a script from a phone call, the GPS coordinates, or the invoice for the time I got him buying porn mags. But it's the last thing I gotta remember him by. And one day, I'm gonna solve it. And then I gotta have at least a teensy tiny piece of him I can remember, all to me bloody self.
Pembroke's eyebrows froze with focus as she stares at the photograph once more. It's the unbreakable willpower of a mother, desperate to find her children. Next time you promise yourself, you'll think twice before asking coworkers about the baubles they keep at their desk. Yeah, you can't actually solve encryption if it's done right. Yeah, but it gives her something to work on. A little hope. Before you get another word in, Siobhan suddenly takes a deep, wheezing drag of her cigarette, spontaneously combusting all of it into a brittle stick of burnt-out ash.
Oops, there's the end of me smoke break. Now quit acting the maggot and get away over there to the abolisher. We got bigger fish to fry.
Yeah, you love cigarettes. I know. It's a one-type pad it could decode with every message at length. Yeah. I don't know. And with that, the old lady whips around, returning to her dizzying array of computer screens and reverberating speed typing. Mouth opens to contest her decision, but quickly snaps shut. Whining will only be met with anger or threats that could jeopardize your odds of certification. You'd best focus on doing your job instead. What's the weird paperwork? I want you to smoke-yellowed sheets and oil-stained paperwork in dire need of shredding. Most of our text is incomprehensible, written in Braille or Morse code. But one document is perfect legible. A letter addressed to Siobhan himself, offering a bold business proposition. Let's see. Standard pronograms code and nasal sample swap cipher utilized. This seems like a lot. I'm not gonna read all this. This is a lot. It does look like a proposal. Like, they're talking about toys here. Drawing toy. Magic 8-ball. Interesting. It's like, yeah, let's encrypt shit using children's toys. No one will ever figure it out. Anyway, I gotta get to it. You won't get your certification just by idling about. Better keep your hands dirty and earn your keep. On the bright side, this job pays well enough to cover the therapy it'll put you through. Yeah, the good old Caesar salad. I mean cipher. You slide into the abolisher's inbuilt chair, cranking a lever on the side of its recliner-shaped seat to fine-tune your positioning in front of its periscope-like screen. Rather than adjust your height or comfort, the lever seemingly starts an engine. You drive a submarine with a Mad Cat controller. The whole office rumbles as the machine roars to life. Photography, fluid babbling, propane tanks hissing steam. Bubbling. Adding another layer to the smoky stink. The convoluted panels are full of buttons, switches, and wonky dials, lighting up an erratic display of flashing colors. Many of them highlight "Warning" or "Self-destruct" stickers, spaced just above. There's a rather concerning amount of the latter. Hard to tell if they refer to the footage or the machine you're sitting on. That being said, you don't allow yourself to be overwhelmed. It's obvious that most of the buttons are decoys, meant to confuse potential outsiders. Though it takes a bit of trial and error, your hands eventually settle on the machine's real components, and you place your face against the unusual viewpoint. If it weren't for the sulfury smell of propane or the fact that you'll soon be falsifying reality for a psychopathic company, you'd feel pretty comfortable about all this. And again, it is pretty hard not to feel overwhelmed. You've never piloted a machine this complex, let alone for purposes so sinister. The principle of identifying a specific section of audio-visual footage and abolishing it is straightforward enough. Just go through the footage, pause on the right element, zoom in and abolish, but you worry how much wiggle room you've actually got to get it right. Before you all in doubt, you hear Siobhan type up a storm, then flip a breaker-shaped switch on the side of her computer. The abolisher crackles as it receives her transmission.
Alright, Greenhorn. You've received your first video. This first one should be pretty obvious, but keep in mind that the directions could get a wee bit cryptic. You gotta read the prompt over real carefully, be sure you're flagging the right section of footage. Because if you select the wrong one, this here abolisher is gonna send the whole damn video back to us for revision. And neither one of us wants to say how busy I get after receiving more paperwork. Be sharp,
be smart and get it right the first time. Because if you get burned in this baptism of fire, be making snow angels in your cremation ashes. Duly noted. Lean forward, prepared to distort your first snippet of objective truth. Oh, jeez. Locate the endangered species being smuggled by the biotoxin survivors. Animal. Hold on. Rewind. Double click to zoom. That it? I don't know. That's the only thing I saw so far. Unless that's something. Like, locate the animal? Any of y'all seeing an animal? Like, there's supposed to be an animal in here? I'll play it again. Blow my nose while it's playing. Like, there's a guy in the background doing something. He's got something there. They're doing something in the background. It's like, I don't know what they're picking up. But it did look pretty sus. Hmm. Like, where did it happen? Dog crate? Dog crate? Where? At the end. Is it? Because I can zoom in. Is it that? Hmm. It's like, it's literally a Where's Waldo thing. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I covered it up? Let me rewind. Okay, this gives us a better view. Is it this? Nope. As you confirm your footage selection, you're immediately deafened with a loud brap. I got it wrong.
Nice going, you manky tool. You just cured multiple sclerosis and revitalized Europe's medical science economy. I hope you're real bloody proud of yourself.
Oh, yeah, a little bit if you're being honest, though it is hard to feel that way when a crockety Irish woman is swearing up a storm and flicking cigarette butts in a sting. Yeah, it's like, where's Mungus? Multiple sclerosis? Monkey scrum? Yeah. He tried to explain it was an accident, but Pembroke isn't particularly forgiving.
If I catch you making another mistake like that, you're gonna suffer an accident. Every screw-up costs us precious time and loosens Smyrna Corp's hold on the reins of modern democracy. If you do not want to find out shite, the alternative to that is... Anyway, quit. Enough belly aching. We got another slice of footage coming your way. Make sure you nail the prompt.
Alright, the abolisher emits pop-up static, the viewport aligning with a new snippet of audiovisual data. Now fearing failure as much success, you lean forward. Alright, for this one, highlight the instance in which the paleontological terrorist notices the security camera. Hold on, I think I got it. Let me watch the whole thing just in case, but I think I got it. Wait, no. He also looked. You looked! Right there! You looked! It's like, you... Did I... Yeah, it's like, I think I lost. I don't know what the game wants from me. Cross your fingers as you confirm your selection, but neither luck nor competence are on your side. Yeah, I'm messed up.
You bleeding idiot! How thick is that gobshite skull of yours? If I weren't here to fix your screw up, some wind South Asia would have discovered the world's first dinosaur. You know damn well those Brits would react to that, don't ya?
About the genuine hate in Pembroke's eyes, the way Aguilar is nervously tugging his collar? Not well. You apologize profusely, but it does little to appease the aging cryptologist, who now blows smoke out of her ears at the top of her lips.
Guess I'll have to hush up another war this week. Should have known this had happened to a green horde on board. You better watch your ass from here on out, you hear me? If you put me even further behind schedule, I'll be kicking you out of the office harder than God kicked out Lucifer. I'll make sure your landing won't be half as pretty as his was.
Yet again, the immense and imposing abolisher lets out a reception-confirmed crackle. Its viewport aligned by a new audiovisual file. Pembroke returns to her ever-ending cycle of typing and smoking, shouting a grave warning from over her shoulder.
Be extra careful with this one, alright? The Rexes are pretty scuttered even by our standards. Before you go complaining that I'm being a melt on purpose, just remember we got procedures to follow. Making the answer too obvious means adding us potential security risks, so use your brain and don't be a lula.
Lula. Lean towards your workshop's periscope-like viewpoint. Your focus on decoding the new task. Identify the prepubescent doppelganger publicly donning its target's disguise mid-crisis. So, if you guys see any kids getting dressed... I think that's what we're looking for, is if they're donning their target's disguise, doesn't that mean they're getting dressed? There's so much going on in the video, though. Yeah, donning their skin? Yeah, what the hell? It's like, boy, am I gonna fail this one. It's like, I guess I'm not gonna get that certification. Unless... Oh, I saw something. You're looking for someone publicly donning its target's disguise mid-crisis. Wait, I found it! Right here. You! It's you! As you confirm your footage selection, you hold your breath and clench your butt cheeks tighter than a car compactor waiting the final verdict. Woo! Oh, thank God, I actually got one right! Press release all at once, a dainty ting goes off. The abolisher churns and chugs, processing your request with a whir of film reels before sending a thermos-shaped canister soaring through a tube of angular direction. It really was as simple as just looking for someone putting on clothes of any sort. And he was literally the only person I saw putting on clothes. It's hard to tell what your actions accomplished, actually, but judging by the good cheer in Siobhan's voice, it's worth being proud of.
Finally, you got one right. Thank Christ. I was beginning to wonder how many brain cells you actually had bing-bonging about your skull. Oi, Emiliano, you know the drill. Beta do, no frills. We can't have this mom thinking her kid was kidnapped. Future-proofing needs her to believe the lad never even existed. Don't use half measures ye did with last year's Cote d'Ivoire case. Yeah, I know, don't worry.
This one was meant to save you if you failed the first two. Yeah, it's like, it's like, I don't know what would have happened if I got that wrong. And I don't want to know. I was like, let's just never find out. The once vitriolic technician answers without emphasis, anger, or passion, merely grabbing the thermos from its transport tube and placing a large crate marked "Big Time Capsules, Primary School Playground Model." His movements are stiff, sluggish, and particularly punctuated by involuntary spasms. The gears of his internal machinery keeps getting jammed on emotional blockage. I remember Booyah saying he'd need to murder his own family during your evaluation. Some shred of that old love must have survived the brain-mangling madness that behemoth put him through. Or perhaps was passed down to the entity replacing him, intentionally or otherwise. Siobhan takes a long, long drag of her half-extinguished cigarette. It moves her wrinkled fingers in a blur across her keyboard that sound like a Gatling gun firing plastic bullets. Soon after, you're treated to an avalanche of abolishment notifications. The film reels churned with anticipation, struggling to process the 24 video files you just received.
Now you're getting the hang of this. We're picking up the pace. We got at least 15 more of these G-bag files to get through by the end of the day. So make sure you keep a steady rhythm going. You too, Aguilar.
What
What do you thank me for? I had all my productivity issues ironed out weeks ago. You're the ones who need to keep up with me.
With a dismissive wave and a degrading comment, Pembroke returns to her own task, typing out lines of incomprehensible code on her out-of-date machine, no longer paying you any mind. See if she trusts you implicitly now, a flattering if unsettling endorsement. This probably means you're on the right track to earn certification. If you give one more push, you'll probably be free to leave. Crack your knuckles and get this shit over with. Your fingers emit a satisfying symphony of snaps and pops, ready to tackle the task at hand, despite the fact that they won't stop shaking. It's hard to ignore the horrible things you'll soon help the company get away with. Hopefully you can make up for it by tearing Smyrna Corp to shreds. After 5 uninterrupted hours spending reviewing nonsensical footage and spouting eldritch security protocols, your brain has become a slurry of secondhand smoke and guilt. You'd be hard-pressed to determine which is most intoxicating. In the span of a single day, you've learned that a Cherokee communications expert invented the internet in 1899, moments before erasing all traces of her existence from history. You covered up a country club located in Antarctica, where the ultra-rich pay millions to hunt the world's last woolly mammoth. And, of course, you've revised a couple hundred news reports describing the bodily love affairs of various world leaders. You're not completely desensitized to all these scandalous bombshells, but the sheer amount of them, coupled with the speed at which you've been forced to work, has turned the earth-shattering revelation into little more than background noise. Either jadedness is your mind's way of protecting itself from a breakdown, or the workplace has normalized abominations far more than you realized. Siobhan, however, doesn't look the slightest bit perturbed. If anything, she looks relieved, as though all the work you've just accomplished finally allowed her to enjoy a cigarette.
That was some real class work, Greenhorn. Having you around really cut our backlog down to size.
Perhaps mocking the endorsement of your not-so-stellar skills, Pembroke's computers begin flashing with yet another error message.
Well, you only cut it down by a couple inches. You're not exactly an abolisher prodigy, and the files ye benchecks are about as pretty to look at as a pug licking piss off a nettle. But ye still helped more than ye heard. That's better than some people around here.
Emiliano answers the not-so-subtle insult by spitting on the floor. His hands busy scrimshwing a hitman's phone number onto the mast of a bottled ship for some reason. Pembroke merely snickers as though it were all in good fun, nudging you to laugh alongside her. You only manage to force a chuckle, unsure if you should be happy about endangering this guy's job and life. Twice.
Anyway, I just wanted to say cheers from the bottom of me shitty heart. Figured you'd be a pain in me ass, but it turns out you're a grand listener. And a quick learner to boot. That other pretty young lass who encoded that operator's manual left really helpful information behind. Ain't that right, Aguilar? Yeah, whatever. Now how about you learn a lesson from the newbie and let me focus? This stuff's complicated.
The supervisor rolls her eyes, knowing the man's resentment is as fake as her own. It seems they might be better friends than appearances let on. That or you're even less sure why they haven't already murdered each other a few times over. In the case, seems like you've endeared yourself sufficiently to earn a befitting prize, though you only have eyes for one reward in particular. I will be nice and patient. As Siobhan continues rambling with increasingly incoherent vernacular, you nod along with a tight-lipped smile, trying not to glance too often at the office clock. After what feels like hours, your patience is finally rewarded. Rummaging through a toddler-sized pile of cigarette butts, Pembroke retrieves a sheet of soot-smeared cardboard and hands it to you without ceremony. Wiping it clean, staining your hands black with ashes, you can make out a sequence of punch card holes beneath the grime and a few blocky printed words. They read, Encryptology Certification. Yay!
Normally, I'd have to put you through a few more weeks of work in this bloody grinder and make you fill up enough dry shite paperwork to bore a trade to death. But neither of us want that, so let's both agree to tell ye earned this nice and proper. Anywho, now that you got what you wanted, go on then. Office will be closing soon and I gotta make sure anyone didn't bejags his end of the job. Get yourself some rest and an industrial-grade chemical bath. I'll need ye back here bright and early tomorrow. We got a whole bloody nuclear weapon test to cover up this week, and that don't get solved in a single morning.
I'm back? Tomorrow? Fat chance. You have a world to save and no time to waste ruining what's left of it. You're done here. For good. Yeah, I'm not going through that crap again. Bye. Pembroke reacts to your announcement with aghast rage, punctuated by Emiliano's laughter. As the supervisor turns her abusive anger towards her snickering subordinate, you bolt out of the office, finally free from that reeking hotbox. You run as fast as your legs can carry you, passing through the department's convoluted security checkpoints. The journey feels absurdly fast now that you don't have to take weird tests every 10 paces. Despite your fear of what might happen once Siobhan tracks you down, or that the tasks you perform today could haunt you for years, you make your escape with your head held high and your certification held tight. 2 down! Halfway there already. Just a little more and the world will be saved. As you finally reach the elevator, you stop to catch your breath while typing in the ground floor's password. A few other employees ending their excruciating work shifts hurry to join you before it closes. But after a few disgusted sniffs, they unilaterally decide to wait for the next lift, giving you a wide berth. Ruh-roh. Alright, rest well, Cosmic. Taffy, why are you biting the stick? What a strange little man. Confused, you take a whiff of your turtleneck and wrinkle your nose. Hopefully your detergent will be strong enough to deep clean the smoke stench out of this wretched uniform. Yeah, of course. Well, I'm gonna take my bathroom break now that I just finished that chapter, so I will be back after these commercial messages. Alright, I'm back. It looks like Toffee decided to just be like, fuck you, I'm leaving. Alright. So Wednesday. Wednesday morning has arrived. It comes both sooner than you would have wanted and after what seems like an eternity. The past 2 days have felt like fever dreams, each one caused by different kinds of psychoactive drugs, and you're not exactly looking forward to finding out which intoxin will influence your certificate hunt. Yet again, the entrance lobby is abuzz with anxiousness and caffeine-addled souls. The threat of Radium's impending partnership looming ever closer. Turtle-necked figures with baggy eyes darker than their clothes shuffle about like walking corpses. All are worn down to hollow husks by urgent, soul-sucking work ranging from mundane to madness. Well, all except one, that is.
Oh, me baden.
Oh, there you are. Just the person I hoped to see. You know, friend, I have to hand it to you. Assuming what I heard is true, I'm quite impressed by the speed at which you've collected your
Oh, me
certifications.
baden.
When I first saw your evaluation results, I was worried you might not be the best the best long-term fit for Smyrna Corp. But sure enough, you've proved me wrong. Never had I been so glad to not pick at someone's brain. Please don't give me a lobotomy. The Tweed Giant looms with laughter, while you let out a creaky chuckle. It takes considerable effort not to picture a doppelganger imitating your anxious laughter with machine-perfect precision. I don't think anyone could copy my laugh. Each one of a kind. Your discomfort is soon overwhelmed by far greater unease. When Obuya's laughter comes to an abrupt stop, the behemoth bends forward, whispering a question in your ear.
Samogeto.
On a far less lively note, did you happen to find anything about our little vermin infestation? The man's breath scalds your skin, and his tone chills you to the bone. You can hear his smiling teeth gnash together, saliva splashing about his mouth like Ankuda's blood? I'll play that. Either Abuya is hungry to spill the traitor's blood next, or he can smell treason on you already. Better than your own microchip. Either way, better throw him off the shed. I don't want anyone to get in trouble. Because if I'm like, oh, maybe go talk to this person, they could get fired or lobotomized. Yeah, they could replace you with a suppressed machine gun and nobody would notice the difference. True. We'd have about the same firepower. Doing your best impression of a shameless stuck-up, you blubber ashamed apologies. You're just so excited to work with Mezzaline in the hive. Yes, you have fun here too. You couldn't possibly pay attention to your certification and your colleagues' actions. You're ever so sorry, sir. Abuya's permanent smile becomes slightly crooked, unable to decide between pride in your dedication and disappointment by your distractedness.
Mahone.
Well, I appreciate you investing so much in your ascent through Smyrna Corp ranks, but I fear this potential data leaker may soon become the more pressing priority.
Yamona Kimo.
As of now, my investigation has revealed signs of unusual behavior across multiple departments, sometimes occurring simultaneously. None of these, however, seem to have alerted any non-disclosure protocols, be they microchip-based or otherwise. This suggests the possibility that our little rat has an accomplice or two. One to help them navigate Smyrna Corp and another to help them circumvent our security procedures. And whoever the mastermind is, they're moving about rather quickly, darting between different floors every single day.
Onekaye.
Don't you find that rather curious? How comparable your respective circumstances seem? Regards case is so piercing you practically feel it spearing through you like that microchip did on your first day. Some deep animal instinct urges you to run, but a far greater terror keeps you pinned in place. A ringing noise fills your ears as thoughts of incrimination flood your aching brain. Beep, 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 boop. Ah, Domo Doom Guy, welcome. I'm trying not to explode. How you doing? You cover your hand, close your eyes. Pray that death by Barodium poisoning will somehow be a gentle thing.
Sure, you can have it, 'cause Cosmic already went to bed. It's like you just missed him like 5 minutes ago. Welcome, how you doing? Instead, Abuya grumbles and fights to stop the egg timer ringing of his massive watch.
どうさめに
Oh dear, meeting's beckon, I'm afraid. Beg pardon for spending so much time talking your ear off with cracked brain theories. Now be sure not to dally. I'll be discussing added security measures with some fellow supervisors today to keep our trader out of anything truly sensitive. And I'd hate for that to complicate your certification process in any way. He fucking knows. Dude knows fucking everything. With a polite yet hurried bow, Obuya trots to the crowd of overworked staffers, many of whom scatter from his path like startled roaches. Not waiting to catch your breath or for your heartbeat to slow down, you rush up to the elevators and consult the map. Where should I go? Future-proofing? Yeah. Yeah, he could be giving me a last chance. Decide my will. It's like, everything will go to Smirnokorf. Gary, the situation of he knows but he can't prove it and he won't accuse you until he's 100%. Yeah, I think that's what's going on. Because it's like, we're not, it's like, we try to be sneaky, but we're not subtle. In your brief time at this company, one thing that always stood out to you is the office's tomb-like silence. Very rarely will you hear people chatting apart from the reception lobby. The background hum of computers, omnipresent in any other office, is completely absent here. Even the sound of a creaking doorknob from 2 whole halls away or the echo of your footprints can be startling in this quiet place. It's no surprise then that the first thing you notice about the future-proofing department is how weirdly loud it is. Grillage doors slide open, revealing an open-concept office space, which seems to be an awkward mix between a stock market and a film set. Headset-wearing employees yell at massive CRT televisions hanging from the ceilings, which display yet ever-fluctuating statistic graphs of every shape and color. The walls are lined with glass-doored boardrooms filled with endlessly flashing camera shutters, while dozens upon dozens of overworked interns wheel about hand trucks stacked full of film set equipment. Honestly, hectic as the scene is, it's a little comforting too. This is a lot closer to what you first expected when your aunt told you about the job. Feels almost normal despite the uncanny resemblance to a period piece about unsavory advertising firms. But you work at Smyrna Corp now. And that means you can't ever have anything remotely nice anymore. The more you learn about this place, the worse it'll likely get. Despite the business-based pandemonium unfurling before you, your gaze quickly drifts to an imposing set of double doors at the far back. It's the only room in all of future-proofing that seems built from opaque materials designed with both status and privacy in mind. You'd bet your modest paycheck that this is where you'll find your supervisor, and by extension of certification you need to enter the hive. All you have to do is cross a minefield of turtleneck-wearing, shareholder-serving zombies without getting crushed under their profit-driven stampede. Easy, right? Yeah, it's basically, don't hug me, I'm scared. Yeah. March through the mob. It's not like these people will get calmer as the radium ink deadline approaches, and you'd rather confront a rowdy workforce than risk existential eradication. Huffing your chest, you step out of the elevator and stride towards the other end of the department. Thankfully, the turtleneck-wearing masses are too enraptured by their urgent work to pay you much heed. Most don't even look at you, even when you barrel through their tightly cluttered shouting matches. It's not exactly easy, mind you. A lot of people are high on some anabolic level cocktail of adrenaline and managerial blackmailing. You need to move very slowly to avoid near-fatal collisions with many sprinting future-proofers. One employee in particular, a squat old lady, bumps into you, dropping a stack of important paperwork. As you kneel to help her pick them up, she shoos you away, claiming her boss doesn't want anyone reading spoilers for the upcoming replacement of a Nobel Prize laureate. You're not sure how that related to her documents, though. The sheets you saw only displayed projections of declining birth rates and anticipated fluctuations of a local population's xenophobia levels. Japan? In fact, the further you trudge across the room, the more incoherent sights and unsettling snippets of conversation you're exposed to. All of them related to fine-tuning public reception of Serena Corp's meddling. Televisions! People scream over earpieces for the narrative team to adjust projections, all while watching graphs fluctuate in real time. Each chart appears to monitor some unusual statistic ranging from global spending habits on contraceptives to political radicalization across age demographic. Yeah. Meeting room. Employees crowd around a whiteboard, overstuffed with bullet points and crude, sharp illustrations of an exploding aircraft. They seem to be storyboarding a horrific plane crash and disagreeing about the death toll needed for it to qualify as horrific. Photo shoot. Vintage Polaroid cameras snap pictures of an actress receiving fake cocaine from a man dressed as a well-known politician. A director keeps telling her to pose more naturally. This is security camera footage, not cinema. Phones. Staffers practically throttle themselves in the rotary phones called coiled cords, trying to both answer and dial multiple calls at once. Each employee seems involved in a heated conversation with a statistician team that's struggling to create a worldwide recession without fully collapsing the economy. It's like, they're really making it seem like this company is behind literally all of your problems. All of them. It's like, oh, you didn't win last Thursday's bingo? It's because Smyrna Corp didn't want you to win. Part of you is relieved to know that even a team this big can barely stay on top of Smyrna Corp's constant post-truth super cherie. Another part is terrified to realize these high-strung, sleep-deprived people are the only bits of flimsy tape still keeping modern civilization's disparate bits from coming unstuck and collapsing. But hey, that's just showbiz, baby. Terrible, terrible showbiz. At last, you arrive before the imposing double doors. From up close, you notice they're made of heavy bronze and are full of decorative, phrases. Each side has a different flourish applied to its surface. The left is adorned with bas reliefs of musical notes, squills, film reels, and dramaturgy masks. A panel in the center reads, Beatrice Corday-Real, Senior Future-Proofing Supervisor Narrative Team. The right features mathematical symbols, strings of binary code, and DNA helixes. Its panel reads, Felicity Smith, Senior Future-Proofing Supervisors, Tactician Team. Judging by the muffled chatter coming from the other side, both these supervisors are engaged in a less than civil disagreement. Still, it can't be any worse than whatever's going on outside, can it? There's a document labeled urgent? The papers are stained by multiple shoe prints as though left to rot on the floor for weeks. Stamps reading high risk and level Z3 cover-up protocol overlap in a jumbled mess of red ink. Yet it's the portrait of an obvious alcoholic clown paperclipped to the first page that confused you the most. Missing person. Search for beloved clown and school teacher called off. Seems like a lot, so I'm not gonna read all of it, but... Missing clown. That could be important later. Where is Buffy? Alright. I will be polite. You rub your knuckles against the bronze, hoping the two will hear you over another's insults. Yet the force of your modest knock somehow pushes the doors open, wordlessly beckoning you inside. Whoever set these hinges used really good oil. Goodness gracious, darling. You mustn't leave the portal to my atelier so atrociously agape. My muse requires silence to percolate her inspiration. Oh, piss off! The only thing your muse needs is a dog muzzle. Or better yet, a botched hysterectomy. Now you, get in here and close the goddamn door so I can hear myself fucking calculate. Whatever you say, new bosses. You slam the office door shut with a deep bone-rattling gong. As your skull is left vibrating by the low-tone reverb, you step inside the strange room whose decor, much like the gateway, is split into two distinctive halves. Left. Countless scrolls and leather-bound books lay stacked together by incomplete brickwork, illuminated by stage lights above. Upon each pile rest countless kinch crystal accessories, similar to those featured in homeopathic soul-soothing scams. Under the purview A disturbingly thin woman dressed in unflattering femme fatale fashion and even gaudier gemstone jewelry sits in the middle of it all, like a tacky dragon atop its gussied-up hoard. Her hands deftly wield a brush and gouaches, painting a photorealistic newspaper cover story. The headline announces the arrest of a multi-level marketing guru. Did I right? Printer-based adding machines the size of truck engines amid a seizure-inducing amount of rapidly flickering lights. Other than that, the walls are gray, the floor is plain, and there's not a single trinket decorating the supervisor's crowded desk. Much like its muscular overseer. The beer-bellied woman's face looks sterner than an especially unhappy slab of granite, and the sleeves of her turtleneck have been ripped clean off, revealing an even sturdier-looking set of vascular biceps. One arm is covered by a sleeve tattoo depicting a novel-length math equation. The wrist's thick fingers attached to it are busily adjusting an abacus, clicking beads, and fine-tuning the knobs of air traffic control equipment. Patrice and Facility, you presume. Or Felicity. Patrice and Felicity. At least you have no trouble telling them apart.
Non capite.
What, young guy? Yeah, your domo streak. Any advice for taking big exams? Don't cram it all the night before. Study a little each day. And, make sure you actually study. Make sure you get some sleep. You keep the door closed. Too much noise makes her art turn gray. Yeah. My, I don't think I've ever had the privilege of encountering you here before, darling. Would you happen to be the new hire that strapping hunk of a man Boucard mentioned?
And if you are, what the hell are you doing here? I already told them we don't have time to onboard some probation period dipshit. I'm too busy getting the fact B has wrong through her thick skull. The bitch is denser than depleted uranium.
Como capime.
How rude. I'm here creating a masterpiece that'll be remembered for generations, and all I hear is ingratitude. You know I can't rush perfection, you dull-witted warthog. Think you did that for the past 3 months. It's more like a review crunch now. Well, have fun. Taffy. 1 second, Taffy left the door wide open like a dump butt. Okay. Yeah? Well, I sure as shit can rush your post-term abortion. And What? And I don't care what you think. The numbers don't lie, and they're telling me your masterpiece is a load of horseshit. As if driving the point home, the large woman points at a bulky computer sitting smack dab in the middle of the dichotomous workspace. Judging by its placement, both women are forced to share it on a daily basis. A cruel and unusual punishment indeed. And close the door, Taffy. You're gonna make the stream go gray. The punishment is only made crueler by how unintuitive the massive device looks. It resembles a coal-powered microwave more than a desktop and uses a flight stick instead of a mouse. Yeah, it might take me a minute to figure out Felicity's voice, so bear with me. It's like they are both women. That much, I know now. I didn't know that. I may not have realized that before, because I'm stupid. Either way, the huge computer's low-resolution screen appears to be displaying a particularly prickly problem neither supervisor agrees on. Before you can ask about the issue in question, both women resume their shouting match at Conchella-rupturing volumes, their insults growing ruder with each successive back and forth. Only after several minutes, when they're forced to catch their breath, are you given an opening to state your case. So is Dr. Girlfriend, but you know. It's like, the name should have been a giveaway, considering they're both female names. But it's like, I am the worst person to have guessed someone's gender. Humans all look the same to kitsunes. We can't tell you apart. Yeah, I want my certification, please. Not exactly threatening to stay here until you've given what you want, but neither do you intend to back down before collecting your prize. At first, both women seem to despise you taking advantage of the situation, but then they simultaneously take to decide they can take advantage of you. Yeah, exactly. You laugh over there. You need a future-proofing certificate, huh? Well, we do have a couple of those lying around somewhere. If you're going to need to scratch... But you're going to need to scratch our backs before we start scratching yours. Indubitably, my dear. After all, what good is recognition without the merit of it being earned? The pair breaks into a shared fit of muffled laughter, trading snide glances with each other and devious glances with you. Maybe this was a bad idea. Mean girls. Well, you see, on a scale from fucking squat to fucking everything, how much do you know about the future proofing department? You unfortunately land squarely in the squat end of this particular spectrum. Felicity seems displeased by the news, but her partner merely smiles, albeit condescendingly. No need to be embarrassed. Even the greatest postmodernist icons in history started from nothing, although some never did graduate past the finger painting level. To put it in pedestrian terms, our department is charged with two particular mission statements: delivering results and maintaining narrative. You see, Smyrna Corp management always has set goals in mind whenever they replace a member of society. Sometimes it's to ensure a person becomes a musician instead of a mechanic to worsen a labor shortage. And other times it's to have an open-minded politician become intolerant, thus restricting a nation's migration policies just enough to maintain a declining birth rate. Well, that's unsettling. How are you supposed to tell which global crisis and which acts of political activism are genuine and which Minicorp could literally have a finger in every pie? Especially when you've never even suspected this company's influence until now. The more you think about it, the more impossible the concept of objective truth seems to become. Now, regardless of context, the storyline around each replacement needs to plausibly convince the world's population without inducing plot holes that could create suspicion of Smyrna Corp's existence. That's where artists like me come in, drafting scenarios, storyboards, and scripts for paid actors to fine-tune the public's reactions, and by extension, their ignorance. Felicity and her goons, meanwhile, fine-tune the results, making sure we reach company projections down to the exact decimal, whether it involves municipal election turnout or international military spending. Glorified bookkeeping, really. Too boring to be worth blithering on about compared to what I do. Like a puppet master perfectly pulling a doll's strings, we make sure absolute logic and ultimate emotion work hand in hand to sway an audience exactly as our employers demand. Oh, piss off. I work hand in hand. You work hand in ass. Now quit being so fucking flowery and speak plainly. We need practical solutions, remember? The skeletal supervisor gives her colleague a look of extreme loathing, biting back an insulting comment that tickles the tip of her tongue. Yeah, they're spin doctors who call themselves artists. It's like, this game's writing is not even remotely subtle. In fact, I would say it's about as subtle as a fish smacking you in the face. As you may have inferred, disagreements are quite common in our line of work. Statisticians are so obsessed with hitting their projections, they often threaten to ruin our multimedia storyline plans. And those goddamn egomaniacs are so obsessed with jerking themselves off over thematic resonance, they jeopardize every metric we've got for the sake of a cliched plot twist. And that's where you come in, tiebreaker. You're a neutral third party who can solve today's debate and decide which route our latest future-proofing case should take. Statistical precision or artsy-fartsy indulgence? I know eat fish? Oh. Tiebreaker, huh? Eat the fish. Sushi? Looks like you may have bitten off a little more than you can chew. Too bad you have to finish your finish your plate. Can't read. If L's plan is going to work. Clinical depression! No offense, but are you sure I'm qualified for this? Might as well put my fucking clinical depression to use. Well, it's nice to have someone believe in you for a change. You are a clinically depressed individual with an ongoing history of failure. Oh, veggie and rice sushi. That does sound nice. Should you really be taking over the misinformation campaign of a world-dominating megacorp? Just wind him in submission. Don't worry, I never trust some paste-eating mouth breather to deal with any delicate business. I leave that to the competent people. You just need to make a decision so they can get to work. It's almost reassuring as it is insulting. The lead statistician's computer chair creaks beneath her imposing girth as she wheels over to the computer at the center of the room. Rather than a mouse and keyboard, she gestures to a joystick, the same kind that a pilot might use to control a plane. Now then, you've got to use this subpar dildo of a controller to operate the future-proofing mainframe. You won't have admin rights to access top-secret files, but you'll at least get to read the projection proposal reports. They're the documents that outline the specific targets our latest future-proofing project needs to hit. Like, Felicity said dildo, I kinda have to read it. There should be a few annotated comments in there left by me and Beatrice outlining stuff our teams absolutely need to succeed. You should be able to tell them apart pretty easily because mine actually make a shred of sense. What my utter buffoon of a compatriot failed to mention is that there's also a projection visualizer. You can use it to adjust different components of the initial proposal to evaluate how certain changes would affect our results. Just in case you'd care to bring a hint of sensitivity and nuance to the discussion, unlike a certain someone, you're also free to approach us with questions if you'd care for a more passionate explanation of our concerns. Once you feel like you have all the facts, come find us to announce which team's request gets priority. Narrative or statistician. You're welcome to argue for an alternative, but it better not be a stupid fucking suggestion. Either way, once you prove I'm right, I'll give you a future-proofing certificate for your troubles. I'll just go with her and leave. You absolute strumpet! Bribery is completely unacceptable in our office. Don't you know what Abuya will say if he finds out about this? That being said, if you take my side in this affair, I'll gladly provide a future-proofing certificate of my own. Not to mention my eternal gratitude for feeding this insensitive slob a thick slice of humble pie. Both women give each other one last death glare before stomping back to their respective sides and resuming their confounding work, which leaves you completely alone and alarmingly uninformed. On one hand, it's not like you need to know everything before picking a side. You could just flip a coin and be done in a snap. Oh, well. On the other hand, there's a good chance you'll thoroughly piss off the losing supervisor for making such a major decision on a whim. And you want someone who helps dead replace victims remain undiscovered as an enemy. Especially when you have no idea how much collateral damage your choice could entail. Yeah, there needs to be a middle road option where you get what you want while they keep targeting each other. Yeah, right? Go for statistics? Yeah. Like, I'm naturally like, I feel like statistics are more important, but let me get like both sides, maybe. Because college, yeah, that makes sense. I also like math. You could always butter them both up to minimize your odds of starting a blood feud, but considering your particular skill set, you'd better prepare for the worst rather than the best. Either way, you can afford to walk out of here without certification. Let's get deliberating. Alright. Let's go narrative. Yeah, though Beatrice is currently focused on painting a photorealistic portrait of an unsavory character, you do well to hear her out before passing judgment. You clear your throat, hoping the interruption won't enrage the flighty artist. Instead, she seems thrilled to have a spectator. The stick-thin woman whips around, both her plentiful jewels and stiletto heels clicking away like the brittle bones she seemed to be made of. With a dramatic flourish, she gestures to the canvas she's toiling away at, which depicts a hyper-realistic rendition of a newspaper tabloid's cover story. No need to be shy. Come as close as you want. People ogle in my improv literature all the time, and I'm grateful for the attention. A masterpiece is nothing without an audience to appreciate it, after all. Plus, there's no better audience than an appreciator of the fine arts like you. I can tell you're not some data-driven, algorithm-obsessed ape like my barbaric colleague.
That's reassuring to hear, but fine arts might be a bit of hyperbole. After all, you're reading this story. Our writer's prose is exactly giving Shakespeare a run for his, no doubt, considerable money. It's like the writer is self-aware, I see.
You ever want to make an artist happy, ask them questions about what they're doing and don't be too loud about it.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, maybe not be subtle, but they're self-aware. Yeah. Even though Beatrice's artwork is admittedly impressive, you turn down the offer to admire it as politely as possible, desperate not to inflate her full-to-burst ego. Upon clarifying that you're here to ask about the disagreement, a dark cloud settles over the woman's already thickly shadowed eyes. Yeah, I did notice this game does seem to be quite self-aware. It does seem to be like dark humor, like the book Catch-22, if you've ever read it. I've read it. It's funny. You should read it. I suppose I should have suspected as much. Well, I'm flattered you care enough about my opinion to get it straight from the source. And I'll happily spend as much time as it takes to convince you that my team's approach is superior. Particularly if it incentivizes you to take that piggish plebe Felicity down from her high and mighty horse. Ask away, my dear. I'm sure you're just aching to learn about me and my process, so don't shy away from personal questions. I'll happily be an open book for you, one that's very pleasurable to read at that. She's laying on the drama and even thicker than the lipstick she's wearing. Still, vapidly vainglory and obvious struggle aside, it's clear Cordereal truly cares about the quality of her work and not just the attention it earns her. Yeah, pleasurable. A pretty understandable concern considering what kind of consequences her oversights could have for Smyrna Corp's existence. With a little luck, you'll find a foolproof way to satisfy her high standards without setting Smith's crosshairs on you instead. Regarding the future-proofing proposal, which part is essential for narrative? Both sides of the department seem adamant that their approach is the only road to success, but that's just willful inflexibility. There's probably just one or two things each team really cares about. Find out what they are, and you could make both these people happy. The narrative lead swoons, pretending to faint as she comfortably collapses atop a sofa-shaped pile of leather-bound books. With a twirl of her paintbrush, she points to the future-proofing mainframe at the center of the room. She clearly regards the mysterious machine with unmasked resentment. No doubt she's fought long and hard to make it work as intended, only to fail every time. The kindest thing I could possibly do, darling, is uncover an unknown variable that maleficent motherboard that actually gives me hope. I don't know if you've read Felicity's report yet, but there's no constructive criticism to be found whatsoever. It's just blatant refusal after blatant refusal. And the darling just sells it. She won't let me use violence. Won't agree to high fatalities. Won't even accept my wardrobe choices. I've had more insightful conversations with emotionally stunted 2-year-olds. I've been trying to persuade her of potential alternatives by using the projection visualizer, but the media coverage setting has been completely deactivated, so I can't quite tweak things the way they ought to be tweaked. So I may or may not have misplaced the reactivation CD-ROM somewhere amid my trinket collection. But that's Smith's fault for trusting me with it in the first place, wouldn't you say? With visible embarrassment, the skeletal supervisor gestures towards a massive assortment of rings, necklaces, and brooches strewn about the side of the office. So when the piles of jewelry are real, there could be a few $100 million worth of tacky gemstones and hideously overdecorated gold ornaments for you to sort through. And all of it is glittering, much like the polished underbelly of a computer CD-ROM. It's kind of like a treasure hoard this big, all in the hopes of tracking down a single razor-thin disc. It's madness. It would take a sane person the better part of 3 weeks to get through. You, on the other hand, only have the latter half of not-so-productive workday to spare. Even less than that. A scavenger hunt is out of the question. You won't be able to count on that media coverage feature after all. Still, things aren't completely hopeless. If Cordereal is to be believed, There may be other visualizer configurations neither supervisor thought of. If you can find one that makes both sides happy, you might just walk out of here victorious. Assuming that such a configuration actually exists. Now, was there anything else piquing your charming little sense of curiosity? Painting? A rude question to ask an artist normally, but Beatrice seems happy to explain. This headline is meant to distract the public from a different bit of breaking news covering the death of Smyrna Corp's controversial founder. She hands you a copy of the woman's obituary, encouraging you to learn more. Yeah, isn't this the woman who disappeared? Borodine, she was the founder. Yeah, Gertrude Borodine, psychotherapist, specialized in aging. I feel like I'm getting a sense of deja vu. I know, Kazuo brought her up. So I guess this obituary is meant to cover up her disappearance. And it's like, why would she disappear? Gee, I wonder. Alright, talk to Smith. You turn to the hulking mathematician, clearing your throat to get her attention. She turns away from her abacus with a groan, flashing you a menacing, "What the fuck do you want now?" look. Never have you met someone who can swear without saying a word. What was your favorite? He had such emotional narrative depth to him. Yeah, no, he was very well written. I'm like, like he said, he seemed like a, or maybe it was surveillance bird image. Someone said he would make for a good ally, and I agreed. I forget who said it, but somebody said it. Let's see. Regarding the future-proofing this proposal, which part is essential for the team? Both sides of the department seem adamant that their way is the only way, but that's just willful inflexibility. There's probably just one or two things each team really cares about. Find out what they are, and you might be able to make everyone happy. A guttural growl ripples to the supervisor's moose-thick neck, her irritation towards Cordereal palpably swelling. She doesn't seem happy that you're talking about this before reading her report. Such hubris might even qualify a narrative-level stupidity bordering on Beatrice-level brain damage. Let me put it this way. That stick-bug of a woman creates future-proofing scenarios the same way glue-huffing high school boyfriends try to have sex. Ew. Both keep insisting things will be big, loud, and unforgettable. Instead, they mostly end up disappointing, full of unexpected complications, and finish faster than they started. See, Beatrice keeps wanting to crank up the casualties and spectacle of each case to absolutely batshit heights, over and over again. All while leaving us no time whatsoever to fix the thermonuclear trash heap those overscope scenarios create for us. I don't care if this ends up more boring than sugar-free oatmeal at a Mormon book club. I need Beatrice to keep this simple for once.
Oh, Mickey, you're so fine. You're just fine. You're fine. Nicky. Yeah, Nicky.
Low risk, low expense, and drawn out instead of sudden. Something that gives my statisticians plenty of time to deal with unintended consequences as they pop up, rather than scrambling to fix a million fuck-ups at once. That, or she should target a limited audience instead of the global appeal bullshit she usually aims for. Ideally both. The bulky Smyrna Corp accountant continues her explanation by using an increasingly incomprehensible combination of advanced analytical terms and belligerent curse words. Quite rare to hear the words predictive geospatial evaluation system and bath toaster suicide in the same sentence. In the end, the woman's offensively expansive vocabulary proves too confounding. You end up dissociating from the conversation halfway through. While Smith goes on a completely unhinged bender about SEO optimization, shoving sandblasters sideways up a certain supervisor's anal cavity. Oof. There might have been a clue in there regarding how to make her team happy during the course of its debate, but you may not have the technological acumen necessary to actually exploit that clue. Yeah, someone who handles a sextant. I've been on Uwu for a while. I have been on Uwu for a while. I'll take that off. Okay. Anyway, nothing's stopping you from just accepting my current projection outright. I'd argue it's in your best interest. It'd make me happy, and it'd make Quarter Real absolutely fucking livid. And there's nothing I want more than to see that soap opera skeleton sweat the same way she made me sweat. Got something to ask, or are you done talking my damn ear off? There's a colorful magazine ad near her abacus. Is that what she's calculating? Smith hands over the torn page over with a growl, saying the radiant product it promotes has been giving her a bleeding aneurysm because Encryptology spent triple their allotted budget to overhaul their entire beeping cybersecurity protocols. You might want to bleeping buy one. Oh yeah, they were talking about doing cryptic stuff with toys before. So, your child will enjoy the happiest birthday of their life with our mechanical animal, lifelong companion. They'll stay by their side from first steps to last breath. He's a monkey! She makes you sweat. Hunch sensitive. Huge eyes. Answers all your questions. World's best babysitter. Never sleeps. Follow your child no matter where they go. Keeps watch. Will defend your child against ill-intentioned strangers, including a concealed 200,000 volt stun gun. Wow. Order now! And the future will never leave you. That's a little terrifying. Alright, head to the future-proofing mainframe. Its files might provide answers. It's so social media until I mentioned actually protecting them. Like, nah, it shoots laser beams out of its eyes and melts people. Probably. Or just shocks them to death. Same thing. You approach the awkwardly acrobatic computer, fumbling with its deliberately cumbersome controls until you find a way to turn it on. As the tiny screen alights, you grab hold of the joystick and prepare to scour its suspicious contents. Oh good, they gave me the password. Felicity. Photo. Text. In regards to Beatrice's future-proofing proposal, we are not going to kill that many people. We are not going to turn their deaths into a publicity stunt. We are not creating a multiple million marketing campaign to justify one measly fucking doppelganger, and we are not going to let that string-being shit-talker assert my authority. Department is still struggling to recoup the funds we wasted on Quarter Real's last stunt, and I can't afford to have more quit on me. That means we turn off the violence button, we guarantee low fatalities, and give them ourselves the biggest time frame possible to ensure we can coordinate this case properly. It's in bold, so that might be important. I don't care how many corners those fruit baskets have. I'm keeping us above the budget threshold this time. End of story. This game's overriding as that well-written novel thing where you can mentally visualize the environment of the building even though you never actually see it. I know! Yeah, no, like I said, this game is obviously like dark humor, satire kind of thing. But it's got very good, it's very tongue-in-cheek, it's very, and it is very descriptive. Like, it's descriptive enough. It manages to avoid being flowery, which is nice. I don't like flowery language. So it tells you just enough to put a picture in your head, which is great. Yeah, it's like, don't want to cause a Holocaust. And whoever complained at HR about my vulgar language, grow some balls, you fucking pussy. Alright, Beatrice. Me. Lore map. Artwork. Is that the monkey? Narrative notes. Hi, darlings. Beatrice here. Let's see. We got the perfect story to tell. In order to both discredit Blank and exterminate her loyalists in one fell swoop, we'll be altering existing news reports, found footage, and family photos to make it seem like she was a woman who went utterly mad after the death of her son, after which she became the leader of a deranged, bloodthirsty cult preaching nonsense about the shadow government. Assassination of followers will thus be concealed under the guise of mass public suicide she herself requested, and I do indeed mean mass suicide. We're talking thousands upon thousands of death in an explosive spectacle Eastern Europe has never seen before, except for that one time. Not only will this guarantee an extremely high global deception ratio, but it'll make for a truly poetic tale of heartbreak and lost purpose. Remember, everyone, nothing makes people pay attention like violence. We want high fatalities with a short time frame to really make people pay attention. It's the only way to make them forget what really happened and have them embrace the version of our truth. Yeah, they definitely want, like, opposites. Anytime you college professor almost never turned up for class, you filed a complaint to college and you threw a passive-aggressive tantrum. It's like, I get the feeling he's probably not working there anymore. Yes, it'll put us over budget, but we need this plan to work or it could jeopardize the entire radio main contract, if not democracy itself. Remember, no cost is too great to create compelling art. Much love. The extra notes. Massical suicide brainstorm notes. Overdose. Too cliche. Gun to the head. Also overdone, but possibly a keeper if they do it somewhere unexpected. Amusement park? Chainsaw fight to the death. Very visually striking, but a bit 1985 for my taste. Could be interesting if we mailed some limbs that are next to kin. Synchronized self-lynching off the edge of a hydroelectric dam. Ooh, interesting. It kind of be like a human bead curtain, and we have a scroll of big graffiti and blood. Solid contender. Sex orgy gone wrong. Tempting, but Kuroko would never agree to those terms. Also contradicts our target's character arc. Claim the data leaks were fake and don't kill anyone. Whoever suggested this, you're fired. I'll expect your letter of resignation and lobotomy appointment confirmation on my desk by 5 p.m. tomorrow. So don't say that one. Well, but one of them is behind Russian window syndrome? Probably. Self-lynching? I definitely want to remember some of these. The visualizer. Alright. What do I gotta do here? Yeah, global deception ratio. Represents how efficiently your scenario will prevent normal people from knowing company interference in affairs. This value must always remain above the upper line. Budget threshold represents core financial assets required. The value must never go under the lower line. To adjust these visualizer values, please tweak the following parameters. Fatality slider, time frame slider, media coverage slide, violence button, control demographic button. Some parameters may be deactivated at the discretion of your direct supervisor. To reactivate these features, please consult. If you cannot reactivate these deactivate functions, which is very possible, please proceed according to your supervisor's instructions. Okay. Yeah, suggest a course of action. Maximize global deception ratio without jeopardizing the department's... So it's like if it's like that. So... Deception has to be high, budget has to be low. Above the upper line, never go under the lower line, so it has to be above? What? I'm just like, eee! Yeah, I'm just like, media coverage? It says deactivated. Hack? What's that? Domo Wumbo, welcome. How you doing? How's your wombology? Okay, future-proof reports. Yeah, it comes directly from the new head of substitution, Abuya Bugard. What to do to major cryptology department oversight caused by Mr. Aguilar. Yeah, he's got an appointment. There's been another significant office-wide data leak. It's imperative that we contain the spread of misinformation prior to the Radio Meek merger. Today's target is blank. A known Roman whistleblower has been illegally divulging leaked Smeared Corp data to the public. Though people mostly know her claims as paranoid conspiracy theory rambling so far, she's attracted a rather large following of political dissidents who use some Luminesque organization is controlling their government from the shadows. Already commissioned doppelganger to replace, testify in court, pure publicity stunts. Your job, however, is to further discredit claims by killing her. All known supporters in making the smear corp leaks retroactively look nonsensical. Sure to do so, no greater than the budget. Knows that saying, but for the love of all that is holy, please try to communicate with each other this time. Beatrice accidentally doubles the death count for drama, or Smith cuts corners on assassinations to fit the budget again. I'm pretty sure Miss Durbegard will be cutting me. Well, they're deceased. Double check the vision and to submit your report notes for approval. Okay. Trash? Can someone decode that for me, please? If someone wants to take a screenshot. I'll drink some water. Give you a second. No? Okay, fine. It could have been important. You step away from the main brain, rubbing pixel-induced visuals show out of your eyes and massaging your aching temples. That machine is a total pain in the ass and head, obviously, but more concerning is the fact that both Smith and Beatrice seem to be telling the truth. As far as you can tell, there's no way to make both future-proofing teams completely happy. Still, it doesn't mean things are completely hopeless. Maybe you could needle Cordereal and Felicity for more information and use your unique talents to cover something they overlooked. Assuming you have the right skills, of course. But if you still can't find an answer after all that, you might have to admit defeat and just pick a side. Still get your certification that way, and hopefully a supervisor you don't choose to side with won't try to cut your head off, figuratively or otherwise. Search documents. Your rummaging reveals nothing as so convenient as an instruction manual. Just a few administrative meeting notes for different future-proofing projects. You skim one hoping to learn about the department, but only leave more confused than ever. Meeting notes. You're trying to raise the resolution because you usually watch at 360. Oh. Call to order. Welcome and birthdays. Project Cuckoo. Project Starfish. Project Silk. Alright. I think it's time to just figure this shit out. The room goes deathly silent. Cordereal whips around from her painting, spluttering gauche onto her books, while Smith's clicking abacus comes to an abrupt stop. Both stare you down like hungry dogs, starved enough to clean the hand that feeds clean off. As if by coincidence, your microchipped palm starts aching. You better have found those reports properly, Tiebreaker. I won't be happy if you find out you pull nonsense out of your ass to defend those morons in negative. Oh, please, you should be glad they make up nonsense. It's the only way they could ever justify taking the statistician team's side. Miss Pair glances, one more vicious look of vile hatred, temper boiling hotter than ever. No matter how this messy situation ends, it sure as hell won't end quietly. When both women finally turn back towards you, their stares feel like shotgun barrels waiting an excuse to fire. So what'll it be? Those dizzy twats and narrative get to veto this case? Or will the statistician barbarians be wrongfully put in charge? I'm gonna be controversial. It's not like you need to play Peacemaker. You'll get your certification either way. Not only does this minimize the risk of being targeted by a spurned supervisor, it also limits the damage this demented department could inflict. What it doesn't minimize, however, is each woman's outrageously offended reaction. The prospect of setting their differences aside, or simply not screwing one over, appears unforgivably immoral as the prospect of legalizing a bad thing. I beg your pardon? You want me to compromise the quality of my craft, which the entire company depends on for survival, also that this brick-faced brute can justify doing less work? There isn't the slightest chance I'll agree to those terms, least of all for her sake. Same here. As far as I'm concerned, it's either my way or the highway when it comes to this case. Besides, I ran the numbers myself. Trying to implement both of our plans at once, as they are now, I'll be a goddamn catastrophe. No shot am I gonna play all lovey-dovey with that dipshit drama queen. Not unless you have some solid, indisputable proof of a functional plan B, that is. There's a little expectation in the lead statistician's voice, an uncharacteristic hint of optimism she's wearing to indulge. I hope you might have caught something that she overlooked. Beatrice, meanwhile, isn't nearly so subtle. The dismally thin diva leans forward, brows arched at quizzical angles, lips pursed in anticipation. You better show them a proper guarantee, otherwise they may go back to open outright hostility. What, I don't have evidence? I thought I would have had some by looking around. Dispute resolving evidence doesn't exactly grow on trees, but you don't know enough about botany to be 100% sure. Either way, both by as regularly adequacy or less, both order you to hurry up and pick a winner soon. Yeah, so let me see here. Maybe what kind of work do you do? Maybe that'll help. Though Beatrice and Felicity were kind enough to give you a rundown on future-proofing, your understanding of each team's practical responsibilities is lacking. We're back to the bottom, while the top window just said 3, the main text just says Finnegan. Finnegan is our name! Our character's name is Finnegan. Learning more about a narrative might help you bring this argument to a more applicable close. Beatrice, however, only interprets the inquiry as an opportunity to brag. She swoons like a Hollywood oddliner, overreacting a scandalous scene, preparing to deliver an award-winning performance rather than a concise explanation. Oh, darling, what don't we do? Our leaders might be the architects of world domination, but we are the interior decorators. Makeup artists who make the face of the company representable and illusionists to keep the public from intuiting the magician's secrets. Without us, the whole operation would collapse. Or to phrase it in pedestrian terms, we ensure that tacticians' metric-driven missions make a lick of sense. Let's say, for example, we get a doppelganger deployment request for a foreign country's prime minister. The goal is to incite a political uprising in one nation and inflate another's GDP. Felicity's team would be in charge of numbers, ensuring the ensuing election is won according to an uncontroversial 46 to 54% split, or preventing the neighboring currency's value from increasing too quickly. Business hullabaloo, really. Meanwhile, we in narrative handle external perceptions of the event. For instance, do we justify this replaced prime minister's newfound popularity by making him more likable to diverse demographics, or by discrediting his competitor with a sex tape scandal? Do we improve the neighboring country's economy by drawing external attention to its tourism industry? Or by distracting it from its recent power plant biohazards? And do any of these scenarios contradict previous future-proofing cases in ways that could lead astute audiences to suspect Smirnokorf meddling? Those are the challenges my team faces. Creating immersive, influential, civilization-disrupting stories that won't break established canon or distract from company goals. It's all about crafting believable character arcs, flawless overarching storylines, and subtle, heart-wrenching performances for doppelgangers presented on a planetary stage in experimental formats. Just thinking about the rush it gives me is completely indescribable. Smug and self-satisfied as the woman seems, it's hard to deny the inherent complexity of her work. And considering you never knew Smirnokorf was meddling in society until recently, she must be doing a good job of keeping the company's plots hole-free. Shame that her corpulent co-supervisor doesn't appreciate that talent whatsoever. Yeah, schmear. I'm not stinky, I showered. I showered with this suit. Put the shoot on? Indeed, darling. Our dear Felicity is so single-mindedly focused on keeping our metrics aligned on company projections, she doesn't care how we go about achieving our results in the slightest. To her, our most engaging dramatic enterprises are just pointless wastes of funding. Problem is, the public cares enough to notice. If we deploy doppelganger replacements at random without justifying motives or engineering cause and effect, they might notice something is amiss, which means we'll have to create more elaborate scenarios to recon the bot ones. Double Alligator, welcome, how you doing? Compromising today's narrative means paying a fortune for tomorrow's, and then of course Smith complains our scenarios are becoming too complicated all over again. In short, I need to be in control of this case for that dimwit inmate had some good. If my team isn't free to create compelling storylines as they deem fit, her team will pay the price. Plus, I'll be ever so ashamed to having greenlit a bunch of uninspired drivel. She speaks that last word with all the bitter venom of the world's most offensive slur. Whether due to ego or integrity, nothing seems to upset Beatrice more than making mediocre art. So her irritation towards Felicity makes a bit more sense. If you can make Smith understand that Corderill's freedom matters, you might have an easier time settling this debate, but you'll probably need hard facts and data to believe that claim. Better see what you can dig up. Alright, I think I have to check the mainframe more. Yeah, hack that mainframe. Yeah, I have no idea what to do here. I think it's the media coverage slide thing doesn't work. Like, can Smith tell me why it's not working? It's not even an option. It's the same as before. I can't figure it out. I don't know what it wants me to do. I don't know. Alright, I'm just gonna make shit up. I tried. Make it till you make it. Might as well be the department's official motto. The illusion of beneficial cooperation might be enough to make it a reality. Quickly whip up an inspiring imaginative reason for both supervisors to set aside their differences. Unfortunately, you're not exactly the most socially graceful individual on the face of the earth. Therefore, your half-hearted, half-plagiarized speech about the power of friendship and the value both teams could bring each other is full of stammering cliche one-liners and nonsensical sounding statistics pulled straight out of your unremarkable ass. Needless to say, neither Beatrice or Felicity are particularly pleased by your falsifications, let alone pleased. You really think you were gonna fool us with numbers like those? Give me a break. I supervised the Greek government's debt crisis down to the last goddamn drachma. Ever since antiquity back when Plato was still babbling about caves. You're gonna spout fake statistics at me. You better have math to back it up. Otherwise, it just ends up sounding like your chromosomes are neck and neck with your IQ points. Yeah, it's like without useless protagonist, it's a miracle they're still alive. I know, right? Agreed, darling. I may not be arithmetically astute as my rube of a co-worker, but I'm prestigious enough of a performer to know bad acting when I see it. And yours was positively horrid. Unless you put an end to this pathetic farce to provide us a real solution, I'll see your title as tiebreaker relinquished. Or worse. Oh damn, the only thing you managed to make them agree on is how much you suck! Go look for quantifiable backup plans or start picking favorites. You can't jeopardize your chance. It's like, what am I missing? Like, when I push this, nothing happens. Like, all right, get it. It's like I'm just gonna have to choose it if this doesn't give me anything. Felicity, yeah, it's like though Beatrice and Felicity were kind enough to give you a rundown about future proofing, your understanding of each team's practical responsibilities is sorely lacking. Learning more about statisticians could help you bring this argument more actionable close, or so you hoped. But Felicity reacts to your inquiry by flaring her nostrils like a raging bull who just walked on someone having sex with a cow. What? I tell you not to waste my time with stupid fucking questions, and you decide to ask me the most obvious crap there is. Well, whatever. Short version is, when people say we handled the results portion of Spirit Corp's doppelganger-based historical revisionism bullshit, that really just means glorified accounting. Only set of dollars in a bank account, we balance the socioeconomic consequences our actions have on human civilization. Let's say, for example, upper management needs the world to believe there was a West Canadian Civil War in 1999. Beatrice's team figures out why those ugly syrup suckers would have fought in the first place how the conflict ended, and then tie up loose ends by creating documentation or doppelgangers that corroborate the fake event's existence. But see, making up some story about British Columbians fighting to death is just a means to an end. A cover story to justify adjustments to the North American economy or replacing a bunch of controversial historians with company-loyal duplicates. What we do is make sure those scenarios deliver the results they're supposed to. Raising the British pound value by a few pennies or tilting the nation's political views a couple percentile points to the right. Never too much or too little, just enough to guarantee Spirit Corp's plans play out precisely as intended. To emphasize her point, Felicity gestures to the massive calculators adorning her side of the office, as well as the abacus she was fiddling with. Whether those beads calculate the price of oil, military conflict casualties, or the amount of imminent lobotomies to perform, it doesn't matter to her. They're only numbers after all. Yeah, you're a Wikipedia. There's this one little problem when it comes to these numbers, according to Smith, and it's sitting right across the room. In practice, the job mostly involves cleaning up quarter reel's messes. All because the dumb bitch keeps forgetting why we do these stunts in the first place and just creates whatever over-the-top scenario she feels like. Meaning the results we were looking for to get thrown completely out of balance. Hell, just last week it needed to reduce the death toll of a Turkish boating accident, having the dead guy replaced by a doppelganger. But she did it by killing 17 other people in a Moroccan house fire, which in turn caused a 17% increase in alt-right horseshit in the Philippines. Took me 3 weeks to figure out how to get things back under control without jeopardizing 100 other metrics. And in that same time span, Beatrice created 3 more catastrophes for us to deal with. That's why I don't want her to be in the middle of this case. If I give her an inch, she takes 22 miles and $500,000 for my bank account. I'm not putting up with that when my subordinates are crunching to meet the radium deadline. I want something simple for them to deal with and plenty of time to do it because artistic integrity doesn't count for shit when my team's annual turnover rate is 150%. You're tempted to claim those numbers are exaggerated, but you suspect the lead statistician isn't one to fling around inaccurate percentages on a whim. Still, it appears that Felicity's hatred of quarter real comes from a mostly selfless place. If you want to stay on her good side, you'll either need to follow directive to the latter or come up with an alternative that'll prevent her fellow statisticians from dying from stress-borne ulcers. But how do you do that, all while making quarter real get the big dramatic scenario she needs to succeed? I couldn't find an answer. I'm trying. The promised immediate coverage thing is disabled. Can't do nothing. Alright, this might be one of those things where I need a particular skill and I don't have it, so... I'll see if anything's changed. If it hasn't changed, I'm just gonna go with Smith. Nothing's changed. Alright, I tried. I'm going with Smith. Because... Rhoda Rail sounds fucking crazy. Though you're not entirely sure why Felicity cares so much about getting her way in this case, you'd rather put the fate of the world in the hands of someone who's with sharp mathematical acumen. Plus, you're pretty sure she'll beat you back at black and blue if you get on her bad side. It's like, I tried to do both. I can't figure out what I'm supposed to do to get evidence. I tried. I give up. While declaring your decision, Cordereel's hands go to her mouth like a gasping actress from an old film noir discovering her husband's conveniently located carcass. Felicity, meanwhile, pumps her fists and cheers like a ravenous wrestling fan witnessing the mother of all pile drivers.
Yeah, eat my ass, B. I told you I was right. Thanks, tiebreaker. You just saved me a lot of headaches. I can't even begin to tell you how much easier it'll be to stagger out all those suicides over 5 years instead of 2 weeks.
At least she's happy about it. Maybe a little too happy in your humble opinion. Before you can decide how to feel about this less than celebration-worthy outcome, the lead statistician slips you something strange. A diploma-like sheet of cardboard punched full of uneven holes. On the surface, the words future-proofing certification are inscribed in bulky font. If I knew how fucking happy this would make you, I would have promised you something better. Hopefully this still holds up my end of the bargain. And it's like, probably had I chosen her in the first place like I originally planned, I could have saved myself a lot of time and trouble. But I tried. That's all I can do. Oh, it's supposed to be evil in this messed up place. Thank you, Smith, for her generosity. You quickly pocket the precious punch card. Yet as she begins to offer you a firm-looking handshake, Beatrice grabs hold of your turtleneck sleeve. Her painted nails pierce through the fabric as she glares at you with eyes made wide with makeup and wet with tears. Why would you do this to me? Do you realize the consequences that this decision will leave? You've just agreed to create an apocalyptic plot hole in one of the company's most sensitive replacement cases ever. And for what? I mean, did you read the notes I left in that report? I did. As a matter of fact, you did. You even cite a few specific comments left by both supervisors that stood out to you as way to prove you did your homework. Though Cordereal hardly seems happy about it, her grip does loosen somewhat upon learning you didn't make this choice on a whim. Okay, so my effort was not in vain. You know, dear, I believe you would have chosen differently if you actually come to speak to me. I would have thought I would have taught you just how important a good story can be in this line of work. While you did have all the facts, feelings are important in our department too. Oh well, perhaps I overestimated your creative proclivities. I suppose rubes do outnumber the RTs in this office after all. Sheesh, sore loser much? With one final dramatic huff, Cordereal returns to her side in the office, resuming her portraiture with considerably less gallivanting gusto than before. There's a bit more spite in her brushstrokes, a bit more sloppiness to her technique, swatting globs of gouache into her workstation's book and scrolls. She appears quite plainly to be ignoring you, much like Smith herself, funnily enough. Back to work as usual, you suppose. Considering how quickly they got over disputes, spats at a scale must be rather common. Maybe you should take your certification and go, before either woman decides to make you into the jury for another argument. I'm sorry. The narrative supervisor responds to you with a politeness with a petty and theatrical huff. She waves you toward the door, implying you won't smooth things over anytime soon. Leaving the big bronze doors open, you leave the future-proofing office for good. Navigating the nonsensical bustle of the central future-proofing area, you fight your way through overworked crowds, unwilling to spend another second in this glorified advertising firm's psychopathic halls. If your Matt can't run this, you'll have an aneurysm. It should be able to run this game. It's like if you play it, you might be able to figure out what I couldn't. Because I couldn't figure out what I was supposed to do. I messed with all the settings. I was pushing buttons. I couldn't get anything to work. I don't know if it required having a specific skill, because you can get different skills based off the initial interview. So I didn't know if that mattered. I don't know. I gave up. Things could have been a lot worse, all things considered, but you're in no hurry to stick around and find out what the hell fresh hell these people plan to assign you next. You clutch your hard-earned certification close, hoping it was worth it. 2 down! Halfway there already, just a little more in the world to be saved. 2 down. I have 3. I have 3, game. I hope that was a typo. I have 3. 3. Come on. Show me. Why? Yeah, I have 3. Don't lie to me, game. You board the elevator and type in the password to access the lobby area. As the grillage doors snap shut, the area's deafening brouhaha of overworked employees fades in the background. Your skull, meanwhile, keeps booming with the headache this mess of a day gave you. Seems you'll need a good long break to fix that tonight. At first, you consider watching a trashy, high-budget, comfort food blockbuster movie to take your mind off things. But upon further reflection, the last thing you want is to be exposed to even more soul-crushing, revenue-driven, projection-based art. Not only has Spirit Corp committed countless crimes against humanity, but they've also ruined trash-tier cinema, both of which are equally unforgivable crimes. You're more motivated to stop them than ever. Thursday. Oh boy, Thursday. It's finally Thursday, day 4 of your circuitous journey through Smyrna Corp's convoluted certification gauntlet. You think you can run this? Yippee! It's a gloomy, overcast morning. The sky is so gray it seems to worsen the exhaustion of your nightmarish week. And neither clouds nor crushing fatigue stop you from showing up to the office bright and early. If it all goes according to plan, this will be your last day at Smyrna Corp. Not to mention Smyrna Corp's last day on Earth. Only we're Friday instead. Now that would be poetic, but you won't complain about a 4-day work week. You march to the reception area with a purposeful stride, relieved not to find Obuya waiting. Your turtleneck-wearing colleagues scatter from your path, screaming at each other to hurry up, desperate to survive the upcoming deadlines. Most are so hunched with stress and red-eyed from insomnia they look like beasts made feral by the bloody wilds of overwork. Part of you wants to cheer them up and tell them it'll be over soon, but the other part knows better than to taunt your microchip's fickle sensors. Besides, you can't let yourself get distracted from today's mission. The only certification you have left to earn is one from substitution, the department where Mezzolene works. With her help, this should be a piece of cake, compared to the others anyway. Lucky for you, you already see your friend by the elevators, frantically waving to get your attention. Yippee! You approach with a cocky smirk, but it withers the closer you get. Despite Sane's artificial smile being stretched wide enough to flaunt her inflamed gums, it fails to conceal the terror lurking in her tired eyes. Yippee! There you are! Thank goodness. When I heard Mr. Bogard was looking for rats yesterday, I was worried you'd already been. Anyway, forget that. Just hurry up and get it to the hive. We can't waste any more time to give him a chance to sniff us out. Not when the radium deadline is so close. Yeah, should we come up with a plan? We don't even know what's down there. Well, you're short a plan. You're short a certificate, too. You two need to slow down and figure things out. Or Mezzolene could just drag you in by force and hand over a familiar-looking punch card. Congratulations. Yay! Yeah, lovely day for it. Hi, Taffy. The receptionist's bulging eyeballs dart between the mindless workers still roaming the waiting room and your no-doubt baffled expression. Only when the grillage door snapped shut does she dare whisper an explanation through gritted, grinding teeth. Listen, all of Smyrna Corp is on very high alert right now. Company can't afford another data breach at this close to the signing date. Iridium will rework the contracts closest to bleed our accounts dry. People like Abuya are doing everything in their power to dig up that so-called traitor, and as one of those would-be T-words, I do not want to find out what surgeries they'll put us through once that happens. We need to go down there today. We might never get the chance again. Even if we can't access the data Al needs, we can at least scope out the area to know what we're up against otherwise. Your microchip's rapid warning blare screeches beneath your paw. Mezzolene's eyes go wide with fear, scared that someone might have heard her. Then half-lidded with disgrace, she realized the consequences her outburst could have created. Her smile wavers her furrowed brows, and her head hangs low with shame. You hear her voice crack a little as she makes her final plea. I'm sorry. Can we please get this over with? I can't take working here anymore. Not for another second. But if I have to spend another night wondering when I'll get replaced, I don't think I'll make it. You let out a sigh, feeling as deflated as the woman looks. It's not like you can blame her. You've barely been here for a month and you've already lost your mind. Someone like her who's done this for years? It's a miracle she's still herself, no matter how brittle the facade. You wish you had the words to make her feel better, but you know they'll ring hollow until you've been set free. So be it then. With a deep breath and tightened fist, you approach the elevator's dashboard and find a punch card slot beneath its buttons. Insert your certification certificates and descend into the hive. One by one, you slide the sheets of age-worn cardboard into the narrow slit. Each insertion is accompanied by a whirring sound. Once you've entered all 4 certificates, the elevator's closed door button begins to flicker. You press the blinking button only for nothing to happen. And before you press it again, the elevator barrels downward. Once Mr. Bigard told you its machine was sluggish. That doesn't apply today. The lift feels like it's a race against gravity and winning. There's so much G-force that you're practically pinned to the ceiling. You're pretty sure both you and Mezzoline are screaming, but it's hard to tell over the screeching cables and blinding sparks. For a moment, you wonder if Spirit Corp's old elevator finally bit the dust and decided to take one last rider down in a blaze of non-existent glory. Then with a final ding and a sudden concussion-inducing lurch, everything jerks to a sudden stop and the grillage doors creak open. You crawl back onto your knees, feeling bile bubble up in your gullet. Please don't puke, please don't puke, please don't puke. Practically, your body isn't used to such extreme vibrations. Yeah, ding, fries are done, ding, fries are done. You're unable to stop a trickle of semi-digested foodstuffs from spurting past your lips. Oh. Nor can you damn the deluge that soon follows suit. Blech. A stink like sour eggs rises from the puddle you formed. Chunks of half-chewed breakfast floating at the surface. Retching, Mezzoline scrambles out of the shaft, afraid she'll start a chain reaction. Wiping your lips, you follow her, laying eyes on the department you spent so long trying to reach. Almost instantaneously, you realize why people call this place the Hive. The reason isn't nearly as fun as they make it out to be. Standing on a balcony surrounded by iron bars. You overlook a cavernous room that dwarfs Smyrna Corp's reception lobby, both in size and sinister intent. The place looks like a airport hangar, whose walls were made from gigantic, geometric concrete slabs bathed in a dull silver glow. The cement floor is polished to a mirror sheen, reflecting the blinking displays of the area's myriad machines. Yet rather than the hum of engines or overworked processors, you only hear an endless gurgle. You approach the balcony's edge, searching for the noise's source. The moment you find it, you're forced to grab the iron bars before your knees give out. Yeah, the angle does gurgle on my nose. Far below, at the bottom of a winding stairway, lay thousands upon thousands of identical cylindrical devices, each roughly the size of a full-grown man. They appear to be hollow, made from sheet metal plexiglass, and wood paneling you'd find on old station wagons. All of them are packly dense together like trees in a too-crowded forest, forming winding pathways through which lab coat-clad figures circulate. And inside every cylinder rests an identical replica of the same human toddler, suspended in a vat of bubbling fluid. No, human isn't the right word. Each child clearly has gray skin, no different in color than the room's slate walls. Their bodies are hairless, including lashes and eyebrows. Their facial features strangely blank, devoid of true identity. The slightest movement reveals their bones are flaccid, as though made of clay and waiting to be sculpted before they finally harden. These, you realize, are Smyrna Corp's patented doppelgangers, brewing in vitro, till the day they're called to serve as someone's replacement. Nursery, indeed. A hive where the pupae of humankind's demise are gestated, before emerging as an all-consuming swarm. Oh, guys, it's 25. You call them Redders now. Yeah! Maybe you flew up earlier. This makes you feel like vomiting a whole lot more. This must be why Elle asked us to come here. If the public could lay eyes on this mess, Smyrnacorp wouldn't last another second. Alright, then go weep, Doom Guy. Good luck with your exams. Thanks for stopping by, Doom Guy. You have a good night. The receptionist's stammer trails off into a muffled whimper and a full-body spasm. Not only does she share your disgust, but a deeper terror gnaws at her. The dread of knowing just how many people must have already been replaced by the company, of knowing just how many more could be replaced next. And if your attempt to aid Elle fails, the next victim could be her. With a firm shake of her head, the receptionist rushes towards the stairway leading to the nursery's gestation capsules. An iron gate prevents access, sealed shut by a massive padlock. Appears to have no keyhole, but rather a punch-out card slot, similar to the elevators. Mezzaline shakes it, then shoves it, but neither the door nor the latch budge. Any ideas? My certificates? Yeah, I might be missing technological literacy, but I got that while I was doing the interview, didn't I? Oh. It stands to reason that any clearance documents you use to reach this floor would allow you to access its steps, but every certification you insert is promptly spat back out. Or you can ask Mezzaline why this is working. A voice like Velvet Thunder answers in her stead. Your certifications only qualify for department access, friend. Permission to peruse its most confidential contents is a far more finicky matter. I think this is where we die. Mezzaline lets out a scream, deafening your own gasp. You stagger away from the iron gate, searching the darkness, the source of that unmistakable baritone. From the shadows he emerges like a deep-sea creature breaking the water's surface. His skin and tweed ensemble like camouflage for the dark. If it weren't for his pale eyes, you wouldn't even see him there. Watching. Waiting. Smiling. Goodness, you have my sincerest apologies. I have no intention to startle you, let alone spoil your first viewing of our precious newborns. I know I certainly like having peace and quiet when I come to admire the potential of Smyrna Corp's children. He sounds positively wistful, like a proud father remembering the day his daughter moved out of the house, probably to assassinate a foreign president or frame philanthropists for murder. That being said, his eyes are hardly dreamy. They bore into yours like unblinking daggers, begging to give him an excuse to let those children replace you, as one does. Mezzaline clears her throat, high-pitched voice a quiver. Her mask-like smile trembles, ready to crack at any minute. Sir? I mean no disrespect, but what's the meaning of this? I put in the request for nursery access weeks ago. The fact that we're still standing here proves the prerequisites were completed. Why are we still being locked out of doing our jobs? All right, Miss Bucky, thanks for stopping by. Yeah, buy a soda. Oh, yes, I'm afraid that all I could offer are condolences, Miss St. Sains. As you're aware, we've had increasingly alarming concerns regarding an internal data breach, due to suspicions of a potential turncoat among our ranks. Thus, in a bid to protect our most confidential assets, non-managerial nursery access is completely and indefinitely prohibited. Welcome, how you doing? How's the teaspoon going? Good, in that I got to avoid it completely. It was pretty great. Though the man doesn't stop the fact that the man will still have really bad halitosis and stinky breath forever. How you doing? I've no doubt this is particularly inconvenient for you both, especially after all the work you put in to acquire full certification on such a short notice. But please understand, I did not make this decision lightly, nor did I make it alone. After all, our newly hired friend here gave me the idea on Wednesday. What? No, you didn't. But the giant's ever-widening smile suggested, oh yes, you most certainly did. When did I do this? Yeah, shake it like you want, Kibble. Oh. During our discussion, you told me you couldn't do everything, nor be everywhere all at once, and frankly speaking, neither can I, especially when we could be dealing with multiple individuals moving across multiple departments. Now, increasing the number of investigators would be the ideal solution, of course. But Smyrna Corp has far too much work to sort through and far too little time for that. Additional duties of this nature would only serve as obstacles to peak productivity. Thus, a more fitting course of action has been decided based on your indirect suggestion. We have reduced the scope of our rat hunt by locking down the nursery. This will keep more eyes in fewer places by restricting the amount of places said rats could actually be. Also provide our colleagues more opportunities to report suspicious behavior. The behemoth chuckles proudly, clapping you on the back. You regularly feel a rib crack from the force of the blow. Yet the look of betrayal in Mezzaline's eyes is much, much more painful. Unfortunately, the task Miss Sains needed your help with has been deemed inessential to the Radiant Partnership and therefore put on hold. But worry not. As soon as the ink on that partnership contract dries, I will personally expedite the process of re-granting you nursery access. After the contract's signed? No. You can't wait that long. You don't even want to work here that long. Swallowing a lump in your throat, you think of a way to change Abuya's mind. What if the call's from within the house? You confidently feign extreme urgency and improvise an elaborate worst-case scenario to justify an emergency exemption. Leslie supports the tale with insistent nods and panic gestures. Mr. Regard, however, outright cackles at your suggestion.
Yawona Kimo.
Ah, beg your pardon, friends. I appreciate your go-getter attitudes, but frankly, if our proverbial rat is already in there, they no longer have any way to escape. With no one coming in or out, the entire nursery will soon become a mausoleum-sized mousetrap, sealed behind executive-level clearance. All we really have to worry about is whether our intruder dies of thirst or hunger first.
Ajobonica.
Regardless, I'm afraid it's not up for negotiation. Rules are rules, and rules exist for a reason. I suggest you drop the subject before I'm forced to have the obsession removed from your cortexes by less delicate methods. Abuya steps closer, eyeing you from head to toe, picturing how he could fix your mind, or how best to replace you. You slink away with shaking steps before both you and Mezzaline have your backs against the elevator doors. They grind open and you scurry in, mashing every button there is. Oh, back to work already? Wonderful! I'm glad this little change of plans hasn't dampened your desire to deliver a good job performance. Now, if you're looking for something to do, why not help our dear Mezzaline wrap up her last substitution surgeries? She's got a lot of lobotomies left to supervise, and I'd hate for her to miss tomorrow's cocktail party on account of unadvisable overtime. Before you can protest, or beg, or tell the man you'll never carve open a person's brain, the grillage door stings shut and the elevator rumbles upwards. The last thing you see from Boya is a pleasant wave goodbye that leaves no room for hope or argument. This little mischief of yours is strike 2, by the way. Take care not to slip up and reach strike 3. The man fades from sight, and so do your hopes. The nursery was your only chance. No matter what you do now, the radium deal will go through. Humanity will forever change, doppelganger will reign supreme, and either you'll work to serve that reign or be replaced like all the rest. Now, to what seems like an eternity, Mesley finally collapses. You kneel to pick her up, but stop upon seeing her face. Her false face is finally cracked. Her cheeks are streaked with snot and tears and smears of cheap mascara. Her mouth contorts as though she were wailing, but you cannot make out a word she's saying over the lift's screeching cables. You wrap an arm around her shoulders, wishing you could cry with her. But the flicker of your palm's microchip reminds you that such feelings aren't tolerated at Smyrna Corp. Damn. Rip. Alright, we're gonna leave it there. I get the feeling we still have quite a bit to go. I'm not sure if I could finish this tomorrow. Yeah. It's like, we got so fucked. I don't know, I guess it depends on how much is left. I don't know, we'll find out. I'll think about it. Anyway, thank you all so much for coming. Let me go find someone to raid. Drink some water. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Yeah, thanks for stopping by, Cody. You rest well as well. Let me make sure I'm spelling this correctly. Yeah, it's good to see you guys, whether you're here the whole time or for just a little bit. I appreciate ya. I think I spelled that correctly. Alright, we're good. Good night, everyone. Rest well, eat your vegetables, and think twice before asking for that raise. Good night.